So we've got Photoshop up, we've got Carol's character sheet there, so we'll just quickly hide that temporarily. I always begin with Trello now because we can like just update ourselves on where we are. But what I have done, there's two new characters that were submitted between last stream and this stream: Scaly Stars and Vandaliers. So I'm really looking forward to getting those ones done. And what I'm planning to do is I'm waiting until the deadline closes on June the 8th for, you know, if you've the raise of the raindrops to 1,000, it's going to be raising to 1,000 on the 8th of June. So once that change happens, that'll be when I probably do the next bunch of character sheets. I'm going to let them build up a bit until that time. So I imagine there's going to be a few of you that will be submitting characters before that date, and then I'd assume after that date things might slow down a bit in terms of character submissions, because it's going to be a lot harder for people to reach the 1,000. So that will probably be, we probably won't be getting many new ones at all after that deadline date, which is great as well, because we can really focus on the ones we do have in the game at the moment. My goodness, Aggro, thank you for that tier 1 sub to Banishing. Can we have some hype chat for that? Aggro's been very kind and generous to me, and I super appreciate it. You're awesome. You're awesome. And let's have that hype. Enjoy Banishing Stroke. Enjoy the bat emotes that you've got and your double raindrops in chat. And she's doing better today, thankfully. She's got some decent sleep last night, at least. Previous night she only slept for an hour before waking up feeling sick and so on. But better today at least. Awesome. Well, I'm glad that it's passing. And because I was worried. When I hear people are ill now, I'm like, oh no, it's not the corona, is it? I'm like, I always worry that it's that, but it isn't always. So I'm glad that she's going to be better soon. I really dislike that game, so I stay far away from it. Honestly, I'm the same. I don't like to be negative about anybody else's favourite stuff, so I'd never like say, oh, I don't like League or I hate it or anything like that, because some people do like it, and whatever people get joy from is awesome, and I'm happy for them. But I understand Moon, because I'm kind of similar. The toxicity I've heard surrounding it can definitely be very off-putting. But I've never played a game of that genre before anyway. I tend to be terrible at any kind of competitive multiplayer game. That's not where my skills lie, for sure. Toxic can be, but I mean, everyone's so playing peace. I'm down to get back into League. I'm grinding gold and arena for packs, so out of the loop on Magic, but Reef deck held up okay without you. Yeah, if you mute everyone, that is sensible. In all honesty, I do not blame you at all. And thank you, Simon, for the follow. Welcome to the stream. How you doing? Thank you for the sub hype, Moon, as well. You are awesome. Very smart idea, been trying to quit. Fortunately addicted. Yeah, never thought it'd be addicted game, but I don't really enjoy it. I just play it. Well, then we can find even more awesome games for Aggro to play. Have you played The Witcher 3, Aggro? Have you played Mass Effect? I'm thinking of all the cool games now that could replace the League addiction. Doing good, thanks. Hope all is well with you. Yeah, doing decently, Simon. And the construction work has stopped now, so I'm doing even better. It's all silent and nice. I like silence. I like silence or music. I'm not one for background noise, especially drills. But welcome to stream, Simon. How are you? Feel free to say hello and tell us a bit about yourself if you want. But if you want to lurk, that's fine too. We love lurkers here. There's been a bit of a thing going on with some streamers not liking lurkers, and I can say that is atrocious. Lurkers the best. Used to play an online game that was very toxic. Oh, what one was that one, Moon? intrigued now, need to know. But anyway, guys, so yeah, I just wanted to let you all know that we do have another 2 characters after Neville that are on our community members to-do list. So I'm planning in June at some point to work on those. But in the meantime, we are going to get those non-community characters done, like the barrels. That's who we've been doing lately. The fruits I kind of want to do alongside these 2 tasks, because the battle mechanics, the Everbloom Forest boss, are actually the fruits. That's who they are. So it'll make sense to do those while we're working on that stuff, maybe. Especially because I'm one that doesn't like doing just one thing. And I know I want a break from the battle mechanics at some point while working on them. Because I'm pretty sure the battle mechanics stuff will take us to the end of the month. It can be a bit time consuming to get just right, especially when I'm still learning how it all works. Once I get more pro, I'll probably be more effective and faster at it all. But because it's still very early days with the battle mechanics stuff for me, there'll be a bit of a learning process happening here. But yeah, from next week, we'll probably be working on that. But we'll carry on with the barrel character sheets today, maybe even get them posted on Discord and up on the Twitter as well, perhaps. So far we've just got the community member characters in. So if you haven't looked yet, guys, at these, you can check them out on the Discord, or you can check them out on the Twitter as well. I want to post a tweet. I wanted to post the Raindrop Chronicles announcement from the Discord. Here it is. Just wanted to quickly post this before we get started, just so people are aware of the new important announcement if they're not on the Discord. So I think that's just about the 1,000 raindrops change. Lurkers are good as well. I'll lurk for now, but nice to meet you. Awesome, lovely to meet you too, Cyburn. And enjoy your lurk. Have a good Friday. I lurk, therefore I am. Yes, Asriel is one of the best lurkers ever. You are the best. All good. I'm super competitive in Magic, but not toxically. Just really enjoy diving into mechanics and trying out things. So I usually end up playing oddball decks that are what peeps would consider meta. That sounds cool. A break's always good to get a breath of fresh air so you could chat with it, refresh my time. And I never would have thought you were toxic banishing. Never in a million years. We never have anyone who's toxic in this stream. Everybody's lovely, so it's not possible for anyone here to be toxic. Very nice. Is Magic the Gathering Arena better than Friday Night Magic? Probably not going to play League again. I'm working on getting into other games. Yay! Well, tell us what games are on your list to play at Aggro. I'm intrigued. Okay, so I'm going to just keep this short, I'll say. I'm going to put a smiley face. Or maybe just a heart. Or just that. There we go. Short and sweet. Okay, done. So let's get Photoshop back up. And I made the character sheet a bit better now, guys. I prefer how they look now to how they did last stream. The background is finally green instead of blue. Yeah, I prefer the colour scheme and it just looks a little bit better. So, this is Carol and I added her other directions as well. Haven't done the other directions for Meryl and Elvira yet because they haven't been done. So, I'll probably, what I'm thinking of doing is, well, if we get time this stream, I'll do them on stream, but I'd rather get Hank, Woody and Oliver's character sheets done first before I do any of that. But yes, so she is the angry lady, Beryl, who wants to find her family. That is literally this goal. Carol's the main character, right? So her goal is basically the main story arc, because the hero is dragged on this adventure with Carol, because Carol, you know, she's just such a strong personality, and I suppose the hero has to give in to her demands. He just finds himself on Carol's journey, and things are gonna really kick off, guys. That's for sure. Still very early days with what's going to happen plot-wise, but there's some exciting stuff that's been talked about over the months, and we do have a lore video as well, guys. So what is in that lore video, it's 3 minutes long. All that stuff that I narrate in that lore video is going to be very much related to the main quest in this game. And I like to keep some things open, of course, so we can like decide together as a community, but at the same time it's good to keep that organised, structured main story arc so things don't like end up too random in the game or chaotic. I want to avoid that if possible. And horror games are her thing. Then we'll probably play some RPGs. Oh, with Nikki, Resident Evil 4 with Nikki, and we played through Resident Evil 2 and 3. She likes the spoopy game. She's braver than me then. I'm not good with spoopy games. I scream very easily. Moonshadow knows this because he saw me. Saw me play one back in the old days. Burn it with fire. Find yourself asking yourself why you even bother and find a better game. You can do it. I believe in you too. We'll break that league addiction. So many good games out there, hard to recommend since we all have our preferences. Yeah, for sure. For sure. But that sounds, I'm always partial to RPGs, but sometimes it's nice to play a game in another genre sometimes. So yeah, so that's Carol. We all know Carol by now. I mean, she's famous on this stream. Meryl's a sister. She, as her goal is to be with her love, her bad boy, oil drum boy, who she's very, very in love with. And Elvira, we finished on her last time, and we were filling in this stuff at the bottom. She's the very family traditional, has very strong family values type of barrel character. She's xenophobic, judgmental, snobby and controlling. Those are her flaws, but her fear is mongrels breaking up the structure of the family, because that's how she sees it, you see. She likes their little community of barrels that they've got going, and she sees it as any other kind of creature would break up that structure they've got. She's a bit ignorant of it, and keep insisting that I'm an antique barrel. Nobody believes me yet. That was just a little bit of information about her. So we're done with the first 3. Now the other 3. So I'm gonna copy Elvira's. I've got Hank now, so we'll do Hank. Now Hank is lovely, guys. I think Hank might be one of my favourites. So let's get him up. Now, the thing with Hank is he's got 2 avatars. We'll get those up now and I'll show you both. You all what they are. Give me a nice RPG and I'm a kid alone in a candy store. Yeah, same. Completely the same, man. Delete my account, so I would have to start over to get back into Leave, which is quite a grind. Oh, that is definitely an idea, but only if you're sure, because once you've deleted you can't go back. But it would definitely work. It could work anyway, to stop you playing it again. Right, so So here's Hank. This is Hank when he's happy. He still looks sad. Well, in the first one he's happy. He's sad in the second. But even when he's smiling, he still has that sad face. But there's another one we've got of him here. Where is it? I've got so many different folders that finding them could be. There we go. So this is Hank later. This is Hank at the start, and this is Hank after the first flashback scene. He has an accident, you see. And once I release that cutscene, once I release the whole sequence, that flashback, you'll see exactly how he had the accident. Yeah, poor Hank. So I'm thinking of probably using this one. It's hard to know because it happens so early on. Like you only get to know Hank for like a minute before he ends up with the hole in him. So I kind of do see this as his default look because of that. Because the 99.9% of the game, you'll see Hank like this. You only see him without the hole right at the start of the first time you meet him. So, and that part lasts for about a minute or two, and then he's like that. So we'll use this one first for him, I think. But if we change our minds and if we want to update the character sheet to his more common look with the hole, we'll do that. The same for Woody. He has two versions as well, one where he's dry and one where he's wet. But he starts the game dry. He won't become wet until a bit later on. Because I do have these little ideas for the plot periods of the game, but a lot of it, you know, it isn't properly fleshed out, so it'll be fun to like think about how these things can actually happen. We are twinsies for a reason, Rose. We are. Poor Hank, I know. And this song, I can hear it, Moon. It's Aerith's theme. I hear it through the headphones. It's a sad one. I feel that RPGs are my baby and our poor Hank. He is. Like, that is heartbreaking, isn't it? Yeah, he has an accident and becomes a disabled barrel. But this is going to be why he's such a special character, because he is just going to be so lovable in so many ways. Bless him. He's a nice person as well, unlike Elvira. But yeah, I think he could be one of my favourites. But yes, I mean, I'm very tempted to have that as the default, but it's sort of spoilers because he doesn't actually get the hole in him immediately when you first meet him. He gets it after a couple of minutes because of the hijacking incident that happens in the scene. I'm so excited to release those cutscenes, by the way. Definitely this month. It's definitely both the barrel scene and the fruit scene will be this month, I'm hoping. So we'll see. Because I talk about these barrels so much, and a lot of you here some people were here when we made the cutscene and put it together, but some people came later and still very much getting to know these characters. So it makes me excited to release the scenes even more. Okay, so that's Elvira's goal. We'll put question mark for Hank now at the moment because we don't know what it is yet. Let's get Hank's sprite as well. So here's Hank's sprite. So we have one of him when he hasn't got the hole, but we also have one when he has got the hole here. Makes me want to cry. Poor Hank. Need to do some work. See you then, Aggro. Yeah, Aggro, you enjoy your work, and I hope you guys well. It's Friday, so the better not be working you too hard. And take care. Thank you for the chats, Aggro. And hi, Van, how are you doing? Your character's been added to the list, Van, on Trello. And I'm excited because he's gonna look really handsome, guys. One thing I know about Van's character is that he's very likely going to be a romance option in the game, and he's going to be the dreamboat of Raindrop Chronicles. So that'll be exciting. Oh, thank you for the Twitch Prime, Van. I appreciate that. Let's have some hype in chat. Thank you so much for giving me a Twitch Prime this month. That is an honour to be given such a thing. So I appreciate it. When there's all those streamers out there and you give it to little old me, thank you very much. But I hope you're having a good Friday, Van. Okay, so yeah, I have kind of been torn on whether to have on Hank's character sheet, whether to have his disabled face where he's got the hole in him, like this one here, or have him before his accident. And I think the dilemma is that this is how Hank looks when you first see him. He doesn't have the hole in him at first, so that's why I'm thinking that should be his default. But he's only like that for like 0.1% of the game, you know. It's not long, it's like just minutes until he ends up like that in the cutscene. So that I see is going to be his overall look throughout the game. But if it's on his actual character sheet, I suppose people will know, because it happens in that scene. It might make sense to make him that way. It's a dilemma. It's a real dilemma for which look to go with, because I personally think that this design is great. I'm quite proud of it, and it shows off his character a bit more as well. It just makes his character more stand out a bit more, having that one as his actual character sheet face. So mate, I'm tempted to go for that one now. I'm glad for the weekend coming. Yeah, have you got any plans, Fan, for the weekend? I'll be chilling, probably doing some, just, you know, I'm always at my desk, there's nothing else I would do. Hi Rose, hi, all barrels could be repaired maybe, and only aesthetically, maybe that one broken for the sheet and the broken in episode 2 if he's still damaged. Yeah, he is damaged. He has this look almost immediately. It's only the first minute or two of the first time you see him that he looks like this. So yeah, if it was much later that this happens to him, I'd be like, oh yeah, we won't show that yet, 'cause spoilers, you know, spoilers. But it isn't really spoilers to show him like that, considering it happens in the same scene that we meet him. I suppose it is spoilers because people will know then that something happens to him, those who haven't watched the scene. But you know, it's a difficult one, just because I adore this design with the hole in it. Just makes him look so cool. It makes me love him even more. But yes, and who knows what's going to happen to Hank over time. I mean, he's an interesting one, because the fact that he had an accident and has a hole in him makes his purpose useless to the people that have kidnapped him, because these barrels basically get kidnapped, guys. To summarise, they are going to be used to smuggle raindrops. Well, I don't know if smuggle is the right word, but that basically is a very simple way of explaining what's going on here. Raindrops are going to be put inside them, and what use has Hank got if he can't hold water? You know, he's the people that captured him might discard him because of that. They might, but maybe he'll have some other use. But you know, if he does get discarded, that's good for Hank, because he won't be kidnapped anymore. Yay. He deserves better than that. So yes, it's an interesting one. I'm excited to see what route his character arc will take. And hi Rex, how are you doing? It's good to see you. I've been lurking this whole time. How come my couch isn't showing? Oh, he is there, Rex? I haven't looked. I've only just looked this second, and I see that you're there. But maybe he wasn't there before. So that's strange. I know there was an incident once that someone was in the stream and their character wasn't showing up. It might have been you before as well, Rex. And I don't know why that would be. I assume maybe the tab crashed or something, or the stream. Because sometimes on Twitch I've lurked in streams and it comes up saying error or something and there's like a weird disconnection. Maybe that is the only explanation I can say for why the character wouldn't be up, or if he'd been lurking the whole time. But at least you're there, so that's all that matters. But I hope you're doing well, Rex. I'll be putting together a portfolio so I can look around for more work. Oh, good luck, Van. Takes a while to look through all my work for clients and such to find the best things. Well, wish you the best of luck, and I know that you'll get the bestest job for sure. They might be mean and turn him over. I know. I can imagine that whenever we get to that part in the game when the enemies see Hank with a hole in him, that we'll probably have like a community discussion of what happens then, and maybe put up a poll with all the suggestions. We'll have to see, because that's still a bit far into the future, but there are so many routes that could happen. The first one that springs to mind that the enemies will do to him is, just discard him, be like, this barrel's useless, it's got a hole, just throw him over there. That could be one, but like I say, could be many different things that happen to poor Hank. Maybe the character was lurking as well. No, I've been lurking since the beginning of the stream and he wasn't showing up. Oh, were you actually in stream? Oh, well, I don't know. Like, that's a bit weird. I'm glad that he's there now, but I have no idea why he wasn't before. But yeah, let's hope it was just a weird glitch or whatnot. If it happens again, then I'll probably contact Stream Avatars or something. But if it's only like a one-off thing, then it's no biggie to worry about. Probably just a silly glitch. Maybe so. Moonshadow, who didn't show up until I started chatting. No, really? I wonder if things have changed now and they only appear if someone chats. I have to say, but yeah, maybe it was a weird glitch. And how's your Friday going so far, Rexy? Yeah, how's it going? How is the Friday going? Okay, guys, so I'm kind of at the moment torn whether to use disabled tank or non-disabled tank. I'm kind of still thinking holeless Hank, because this is the first time we see him when he looks like this, so we should keep him as the first time we meet him, because all the character sheets kind of follow that pattern. Their look at the start, their look when you first encounter them, and they're going to change over the course of the story. These guys are, so many different things will happen to them. They might get scarred, they might be like have a hole in them, get wet like Woody, and they might not retain their original appearance, and they might not retain their original personality either, of course, because characters go through changes. So what is the character sheet here for any character might not necessarily be relevant mid or end game. I always see it as how they are at the start and what their attitude is like at the start, based on how their past has shaped them, and how their present mindset is. I sometimes lurk in another stream where everyone has a default avatar. They don't appear until you type, and then the name disappears after a set amount of time, but the character stays walking around. Yeah, National. That is kind of what I was trying to go for when I did this stream avatar thing, but I was having weird issues. Like, for some reason, for me, they were always appearing, even if somebody was lurking, even though I set it up as to only pop up when someone's in chat, because that's actually what I had the settings as, appear when someone chats, but it didn't work. So I was like, oh, never mind, I'll just have to lurk. I have to appear when they lurk, because it just wasn't working for me. But that is strange how it is working for other people, but not for me. Matt, I don't know whether it's because I've got custom ones for people who are whitelisted or something. Because with our stream avatars, it's only people who have a character in the game who appear, not anybody in chat. So maybe that's kind of made it be like that. Who knows? Who knows? And it's okay. I should be working right now, but I was concerned that my character wasn't showing up because there was one time I watched the whole stream and my character never showed up. Yeah. Well, we'll have to try and work out why that's what's going on there. I mean, I'd be even more concerned if your character weren't here right now. I'd be like, well, that's weird because Rex is totally here and he's not there. But we'll just see how it goes. We'll see, and if we have to contact support, then yeah, we will. Wherever I go, there I am. How's it going, Rose? Hi, Dave. How are you doing? It's good to see you. Happy Friday, Dave, and good morning to you. And Chub Cheeks, how are you doing? Well, your character's present, so now you can work in peace, Rex. Gonna lurk and get my work done. Oh yeah, fine, Rex. Take care. Have a good work, lurk. Because David popped up as soon as they got here. Maybe it's working. Oh yeah, we got David here as well. Also, I'll keep an eye on it. I'll try and, now we know that there might be a glitch, I'll try and keep a more active eye out and see if any weird stuff is happening with that stream avatars. LOL, I wonder what my character will look like when he's on that. I know, he's gonna look like he stands out so much because he's gonna be this like literal, like what would we describe him as? Like, I don't know if hunk is the word. You know, he's gonna be an attractive character, that's all. And the goal is with Van's character is that everybody's going to want to romance him, boys and girls, I assume. We haven't talked about that yet, because that's something to consider too. Some characters might only want to romance a certain gender, but others might romance both. I mean, Carol the Barrel will be romanceable with both female and male characters, so yeah. Honestly, don't mind. I just want to make sure I'm getting my points. You better be. You better be getting those raindrops, right? And I see my character. Yeah, we still need to give yours wings, Chub Cheeks. I might put a mental note of that. Well, not a mental note, an actual proper note, so I'll remember. Chub Cheeks character, give wings, and also change name, because Chub Cheeks' character was originally called Grandmaster Cheeks, but Chub has decided that, and because Chub Cheeks' character isn't in the game yet, was like, okay, it's no big deal that we have to change the name. And I've put it here, Chub, just so you know. You hear Bocco. I think that's how we say it, isn't it? I like the name though. Just need to figure out how to pronounce it properly. So what I do is I'll change that from Grandmaster Cheeks to the new shorter name he's got, and just add to those wings outside his armour, because Chub Cheeks is, you know, he's kind of proud as a reptile. He don't want to hide it. And so yes, that will be need to be done. Was off yesterday and worked tonight, so it doesn't feel like Friday just yet. Yeah, I only just realised it was Friday when I started to stream. I forgot. There's only one romance option I want, Woody. Yeah, and we haven't even discussed who's going to really be romanceable yet. We only know for sure that Carol will be, and Vandelier's character will be. Because it just makes sense. I've looked at the character sheet and there's just no doubt that Van's character should be romanceable. So the other characters that there's question marks there with, I mean, I'm considering Rose to be a romanceable option, but I'm not 100% sure yet. Gonna have to think on that. But honestly, it's kind of up to the person that's made the characters as well. So we'll say. But we're getting a bit ahead of ourselves, thinking too far there, but it's nice to just have a, talk about it anyway, because it's fun. And I think at the time when we properly implement the romance system, we'll look at who's in the game, and we'll do polls maybe as well to see who's most desired. We'll say, but yeah, it won't be too hard to implement, even if we decide at a later date, because it's all just points and variables from dialogue, really. And that can be added at the end, as long as it's before episode 1's release. We want a romance Carol. I know, I feel Carol would be a popular option just because she's not human. Sorry about the construction work again. It's back and it's very loud for me, but it might not be even heard for you guys. I don't know. But yeah, I think people are curious about Carol just because she's such a focus of the story, and I think there's sort of appeal about romancing maybe someone that isn't even human just because it's interesting and different. But Chub Cheeks wants to romance Woody the Box. I mean, I honestly feel that Woody could be a romance option because he's very much one for validation. Woody is, as a character. He likes to be admired and likes to think he's this bit of a hunk, but he's not. He's kind of deluded. So if someone showed him a bit of love, I think he'd like that. I think Woody would like that. So there's a possibility Woody could be romanceable for sure. And it was fun reading through the other characters. Yeah, oh, you've read the characters through, Van. That's awesome. Those forms, wowzy. Oh, which forms, Moon? Hi, Melanie. New there here. How is everyone doing? And how does this work? Hi, Melanie. It's good to meet you. Apologies for the super long hello back. I sometimes get carried away rambling, but welcome to the stream. Basically, we're making an RPG together here in RPG Maker, Melanie. We've been doing it, we've nearly 140 streams now, but we're still very early days. We're working on episode 1 content at the moment. There's not a build out yet, a playable build, but it's a goal for this summer for me to get an official first playable build out. It'd be sort of like a demo. And over time that build will just be improved upon until episode 1 is good enough to be released and there's enough content. But yes, I make it, and the community, everybody helps out, comes up with ideas. We ramble on about the characters together. It's a very storytelling, very lore-rich kind of game that we're going to be making here. A fantasy epic. Right, chat? It's going to be fun. And the gentle music of Final Fantasy drowns out the sound of construction. Yay! That's exactly what we want. The beautiful music to get rid of those drills. And hi MBT, how you doing? It's good to see you as well. I really like that Zelda remake, by the way. Very nice. Hope you're having a good Friday. And Cheese Pie Guy, I love your name, but you're a bot, unfortunately. So I'm going to have to say bye. But I like the name Cheese. I don't know anything about this game, but only romance options towards those inanimate object-based characters. Oh, you mean you would romance those object characters, MVT, or you wouldn't? I'm curious. How can I get involved? Oh, well, you can just hang out in our Twitch streams, Mal. That's what it's all about. Just very chill, no pressure. People come by whenever they fancy and see how I'm getting on with the development. Streams tend to be very chatty focused rather than actually working on the game. We usually just ramble about things and ideas together while I'm doing things in the background. But I stream 3 days a week, and the other 4 days a week I do the work off stream, and that's the time I really get it done, really. Because yeah, streaming and working can be a challenge. And those should be the only options. Yeah, well, some of the object characters aren't romanceable, like Meryl, because she's already got a man. Unfortunately, I know she's beautiful and everyone will want to romance her, but she's in love with someone else, so the hero can't be with her, unfortunately. Elvira's also a little bit... She's also married, so she's married to Hank, and Hank's married to Elvira, so they can't be romanced because it'd be cheating, and we don't accept that. But Carol's romanceable, and Woody's a single guy, the box, so you know he's Chub Cheeks wants to romance Woody, and I think he'd be a popular requested romanceable option, so I don't see why not. And the other one is Oliver, and he's a little baby, so he can't be romanced. So yeah, if anyone out the barrel characters is going to be romanceable, it's going to be Carol, obviously, cert, and Woody as a definite possibility. And then we'll obviously have any of the community characters who would work as romanceable characters can totally be as well. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, there should be as much choice as possible, in all honesty. Not everybody is going to be romanceable, of course, because their character, like, you know, if they've got another partner or they're a kid or something, no. But yeah, if the character definitely would suit being romanceable, then they should be, for sure. There should at least be enough options. This is why I loved Mass Effect 2, because Mass Effect 2 seemed to have, in my opinion, a good choice of romanceable options compared to the other Mass Effect games. Mass Effect 1, you could only pick between Caden and the blue alien lady if, you know, it was a femme shep. And if you was a guy shep, you could only pick Ashley or the blue lady. And that is not enough. So Mass Effect 2 did it right. They brought in way more romance options. So yeah. I totally romance about. I mean, Hank do be looking pretty dashing. Everyone will love a sentient barrel, or they will love no one. Well, I'm honestly, MBT, I love how much you love the barrels, because that is kind of what we're going for here. We want this game. I mean, my goal is to make everybody attached to at least one of the barrel characters. So if you're not keen on Carol, which some of you might not be because she's as hostile as, you know, she can be a bit of an aggressive one, Carol, so she might not be everyone's cup of tea, but there's a cast of many others to be attached to if Carol isn't your fave. Hi evening, how are you doing? I personally adore Carol, though, I'll just say. I think she's got a certain charm to her despite her anger problems. I think Elvira's name is wrong on her banner. Not sure how far along you are on the character sheets, however. Well, none of them have been proofread yet. So if there are typos on the character sheets, that is probably likely. And she's still got Meryl here. That's who we used as the template. But thank you for letting me know. I appreciate that. But don't worry, guys. I'm planning on proofreading them before we release them publicly. It would be pretty bad if I didn't. But yes, so Elvira, get that saved over the other one. Meryl, Carol, and Hank. So we're on Hank now. Let's get Hank done. We've also got Woody and Oliver after that. Now, Hank, Woody, and Oliver are actually, in my opinion, some of the best characters we've got so far. So I'm very excited to do their character sheets today. But how you doing, evening? It's good to see you. How many total are romanceable so far? Carol is the only 100% confirmed. I think there's absolutely no way we're going to just suddenly decide to not romance Carol at this point, because there's so much excitement around the fact about romancing Carol. So 100% Carol. With Rose, I'm 50-50. Part of me thinks, yeah, totally, romancing a mute character is a really kind of interesting thing to do. And so I think, you know, she would work as being a romanceable character, but I'm still like trying to think whether about that, we'll say. And who else? Woody, Chub Cheeks really thinks Woody is handsome, so he wants to romance Woody when he plays this. So I could see Woody being. I think it's also good to have another object character as a romanceable option, a male one. So for that reason, I'm very much considering Woody, because the others aren't possible. Hank and Elvira and Meryl aren't possible because they're not single. And Oliver's a kid, so he can't be. So that only leaves Woody as the other romance option out the main barrel cast. And I think it could work brilliantly to have Woody romanceable, because he's so single. So, he wants love. And Van, your character will be too. But as for the custom characters, the community characters, that we've got so far that you guys can see here in our Discord, there's nobody who has been 100% confirmed as a romance option here yet. There's been little talk of it. Traitorio, which is Elite's character, he's an antagonist, he's the Prime Minister of the game. There was a little bit of talk about him potentially being a romance option, but I think we decided it would be too weird. Somebody in chat once brought up, they says, I think Traitorio has a certain appeal to him as a romanceable option, and I think Elite wasn't sure whether it would fit him and his character, so we kind of didn't discuss that further. So I think it's going to be something that we probably going to see as we go along who fits based on how their arc goes, and it's something that can be adjusted quite easily, because it's just points can just be added behind the scenes with the dialogue options if we decide last minute to make someone romanceable. As long as it happens before the release of the episode, then yeah, we can do it. And let's catch up with chat. It wouldn't make sense for my character to be romanceable, for example. Exactly, Dave, and that's another one. Like, some of these just aren't going to fit at all. Dave is... He's on his last years of life now, and he was also very in love with his wife who passed away. So, I mean, I don't know if they were married, but she was the love of his life, and it just wouldn't be appropriate if he moved on that fast. It would kind of really disrespect his character arc and the love of his life if he did that. So, for example, Dave couldn't be romanceable, and it would be the same with some of the others. Some of the others just wouldn't work either, but there's others that could possibly work, even antagonists. It would be interesting to explore romanceable option with antagonists, but we'll see. All I know is I want enough possibilities. I want plenty of romance options because I like choice. I know in Mass Effect 2 that is what made me excited. All the choices you had, you didn't just have one or two in that game. And I mean, you couldn't romance in the Krogan in Mass Effect 2. Do you think it would have been better, Binary, if you could romance Rex? Not Careless Rex, the one in Mass Effect. So, and Pathfinder Kingmaker has several romance options too. Oh, does it? Yeah, Van's recommended that game to me, and I kind of want to play it because it sounds like it's very, very similar to what I want to make Raindrop Chronicles into. So definitely going to add that on my list, and it's on Steam. Probably I'm going to add it to my wish list on Steam. I'll do that after stream. Well, Rose and Rex should get together in the story, obviously. Smirk, Rex. Yeah, Rex and me are a couple in real life, so for that reason he wants us to be together in the game, which I think is super sweet, and I would go for that. But so you wouldn't want your reptile to be romanceable then, Rex? Because honestly, I open this question up now for you guys who are in stream. Would you like your character to be romanceable if you've got one, or is it a big no? Because it's good to know this stuff, so I know straight away. Nope. Like, we know Davis isn't, for example. Scaly, how are you doing? It's good to see you. Romance Axel and Meryl becomes an antagonist. LOL joke. Oh my goodness. Imagine if that happened. You know, like, it's definitely something that could happen at our aggro. Romancing Axel behind Meryl's back. And I feel like Meryl and Axel to me are the romance of the game, the real romance of the game. And that's weird to say because it seems such a toxic relationship on the surface, but I would like it to be much more beautiful than people actually think it is. And it's kind of a big FU to Elvira too for being so racist against the oil drum. Hope you're doing well, Scaly Star, as well. And welcome back, Aggro. Dave, I love your character. Yeah, Dave's character's so cool. Such a good guy. Such a nice, awesome, badass character. Hi Rose, hi chat, hi Durzel, how you doing? It's good to see you. I thought about including your character in my character sheet, but only if you're okay with that, Dave. Yeah, I mean, some people have done stuff like that. Who was it now? I've got a runny nose, I might have to get some tissue in a minute. Trey Torrio used the king in his character sheet, King Dolos. What other examples have we got of someone using someone else's character? There's definitely another one. Poppy Papercut, of course. Poppy Papercut has used me in her character sheet, so like, Poppy, the antagonist, is just so vital to Rose's character arc. She's like literally like a whole, you know, such a big part of it. So yeah, sometimes people are going to do that. They might use your character for theirs. And sometimes if you're not sure, it's a good idea, like what Aggro's doing, to maybe ask the person if you want to make sure something's okay. So totally, that's the right and sensible thing to do. But yeah, I encourage it if it works, because making everybody link together is really awesome if that can be done, because it makes the game, linking everybody together just makes that game a bit more solid and not just a bunch of chaotic random mess, you know. So that's also, it's a cool thing to do. I think it would have been disturbing cutscene. What would have been a disturbing cutscene? I always forget what questions I asked. Would be okay that as long as we just get to the involvement, DM me on Discord. Yeah, totally. You guys should talk about that for sure. I love the idea of definitely of having a sort of merging thing going on with characters, but of course sometimes it's cool to discuss it so things don't go off track and stuff. You'll at least find things that will give you ideas to incorporate in this game. And yeah, romancing a Krogan seems dangerous. Romancing a Krogan Battlemaster seems somehow even worse. Romancing the veteran Krogan. I think Krogan should have been romanceable. I'm wondering why it didn't happen. Do you think that they thought it was a bit too out there to romance a Krogan? Maybe they did. You should have put that on the questionnaire. Oh yeah, about romancing. Yeah, it could have been a question. I think at the time when I made the forms, I don't even think I had considered romance options as a thing. But also we got to be careful as well, because I don't want to promise everyone to be romanceable. That's something I don't want to promise. Like, imagine if, like, over time, over the years of developing this game, we have 100 characters submitted, for example. Imagine if 80% of those said, yeah, I want to be romanceable. Then we'd have to romance 80 characters. So sometimes I don't want to get people's hopes up that their character will be romanceable. I feel like it it should be special cases, you know, characters that would just work really good to be romance, but I can't say yes to everybody because it'd just be too much work to implement. So yeah, that's the only trouble if I added it to the questionnaire. Otherwise, I'd be tempted to add it now for any future submissions, but I'm still wary because I don't want to get people's hopes up that their character will definitely be romanced. I'm not made yet, but I'm open to it. Not sure it would make sense based on what I've put in my form. Oh yeah, so yeah, a lot of people are just not going to fit for being romanceable, but others will. Wait a second, but the viewers are characters. Yes, if you've got a certain amount of raindrops in the stream, you can submit a form to become a character, yes. But we do have non-community characters in the game as well, like Hank, Elvira, Meryl, Carol. There's going to be a ton of characters that we just make together that aren't community characters as well, because that will need to be done so we can have characters fill in the gaps, and we'll need to populate towns and stuff with NPCs. So we'll always be making non-community member characters as well over the course of the game. And Nungi, how are you doing? It's good to see you. Look at that pizza. Give me. Oh my god, the pizza's got eyes. That's so cute. No, I want both the character resurrects to not be romanced because they're supposed to get, if they were romanced, they'll never be together in the story. Yeah, and there's something weird about my character being romanceable because I'm the streamer. It kind of feels a bit all strange. But I like the idea of a mute character being. It was an interesting concept, but I was always, I'm still like, you know, skeptical and always kind of have been. Romancing Axel Meryl could be a quest, but one of those that can't be completed as given. And yes. So could be a quest, but one of those that can't. Having a sort of choice in the game, or even an ending that does break up Axel and Meryl because you romanced one of them. It feels like it would be super cool to have as a thing because kept creating chaos in the game and, you know, ruining people's lives. It's horrible, but it's fun. And some people might want to do that. So I feel like, what do you guys think about that? Having Meryl and Axel being potential romances for the evil people out there that want to split them up. Because at first I was like, oh no, Meryl cannot be romanceable. She's in love with Axel, guys. But then you think about it a bit more and you think, but maybe we could try. Maybe someone's hero might be able to make one of them break. It's horrible and I don't condone it, but you know, there's going to be evil routes. There's going to be not very nice routes in the game that some players are going to go down. It's not all going to be nice and happy, for sure. I think my character should be able to be romance. Yes, Van's is like, when Van made his character, basically him being romanceable is like the thing with his character and his appeal, you know. And so you're going to be denied Rex and Rex. Oh, cruel fate. Cruel world we live in. Rex has only eyes for the Krogan ladies, really. I would have totally romanced that Rex Krogan if I played Mass Effect 2, just because it would have been interesting, but I ended up romancing Thane because I'm a huge Thane fan. Garrus was my best buddy. He was always a popular romance choice, but I saw Garrus as my femshep's best buddy more than romanceable. Agreed, the involvement seemed awesome. Aggro Truck, welcome back. Is that what was said? I'm so behind with chat. I'm having to scroll back. I've got an idea or two for a character. I keep memos on my phone for a character and story ideas all the time. Oh, awesome. Well, that's exciting, Banishing. I'm excited to see what characters there'll be. That is so nice. Oh, what's nice? Yes, that's true. And what about putting the onus on the person submitting their character for a romance? Make them write the scenarios. Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one because there's so many people in the community that they might have been in the streams for a while, but then they're not around anymore because life happens. So for reasons like that, I don't like to force the person who made the character to be heavily involved in that character's creation too much, or their arc, or what happens to them, because if that person was to say one day get too busy to come to stream or get involved in the project, then we're stuck. Then we won't be able to do anything more with that character. So I like to leave it up to us. I say, yeah, you guys create the character, write a Google Doc if need be, if you want to expand on their backstory, but we as the community, me and chat, ultimately have control of what happens to that character, of what you haven't written in the form that hasn't been confirmed by yourself. But yeah, the romance thing, it's fun to think about, but it's not even going to be implemented in episode 1 because we wouldn't have met enough of the cast in episode 1. But it will still be happening behind the scenes. As you talk to Carol from the very beginning of the game, you'll be racking up those romance points. If you do the right things with her, that will be happening before, straight away. I've made notes in RPG Maker of +1 romance point with Carol with certain dialogue options, for example. But yes, the actual confirmation of there being a romance thing in the game probably won't be introduced until maybe episode 2 or 3, perhaps. We'll have to see, guys, because I think it makes sense for us to have met a lot of the cast first. And there's a particular character in the game, it's Kindle Trash's character, who I feel would be the perfect character to introduce the romance system in the game, because brothels, it just kind of makes sense for the whole concept to be brought in then at that point. And I can't see us meeting her character until we get to a bigger city or a reasonably sized town. I was thinking they couldn't be broken and the quest fails, and that's how the quest is completed, witnessing that unbreakable bond. Oh, really? So you was thinking, National, that there might be a quest to try and break them up, or, but really they don't. And it's impossible for Meryl and Axel to break up, because I agree. I think they should be the romance of the game, the true romance. And part of me, the idea of Meryl and Axel being stolen by the hero and romanced by the hero makes me sad, because it's oh no, but they're together. Hi Neville, how are you doing? It's good to see you. The picture reminds me of Pro Zeddy's Cherem anime skit about a harem anime with sentient furniture. Oh, what picture's that, Avatar? The Meryl one? I'm curious what picture exactly you mean, but that's cool. I didn't even realise there was something out there with sentient furniture, but that's freaking awesome, if so. And hi Forgotten, how you doing today? It's good to see you. I'm doing good, Neffel. If I ever get around to making a character, I'm tempted to base him off Jansen from Lost Odyssey. Oh, please, Moonshadow. We need a Jansen in the game. I mean, have we got comic relief in the game yet? Let's have a little look through. Canon's character's sort of comic relief. But we need more. There's never anything wrong with multiple comic relief characters, especially one who's like Jansen from Lost Odyssey, Moon. I would totally be for all that. Welcome to the Discord, Simon. Well, welcome, Joel. It's good to have you here. But thanks for the inspiration. I'm going to look into that anime actually, because I'm super curious now. Super curious indeed. Oh, you know it. He did the voice of that old genie character in that point and click game we played, right? It was called Unavowed or something like that. Oh, cool. Awesome. Here's a shirt with characters on it and the faces look similar. There is Lamp Senpai, Refrigerator Kun. Oh, okay. I'll look into that one. Finally got a haircut after close to 3 months. Ooh, cool. Wow. Getting haircuts right now is definitely, I'm cutting my own hair. I haven't been to the hairdressers in like over a year. I cut my own, guys. Hello, Everton Joe. Yeah, I have a quick question. How heavy are the fantasy elements in this game? Are there dragons, for example? Good question, Dave. In all honesty, I like to keep any like fantasy elements as flexible for you guys as possible, because I'm very, when you've got like sentient barrels, anything's possible. Anything is possible in this game. And I like you guys to, you know, what you imagine, and any type of character or elements you want to introduce should be allowed. I mean, Glacian's character, just as an example, he isn't a dragon tamer. He wants to find legendary dragons of the world, so there are definitely dragons because of Glacian's character. I think before Glacian's character there wasn't any like confirmation of dragons. I don't think anybody else's character sheet mentions them. But yeah, so they are a thing. I mean, we've got reptiles, like Rex's character, and Chub Cheeks and Juices, but they're not real dragons. They're more like a lizardy type race. So full-on epic Skyrim style dragons, I imagine being similar to the dragons that, you know, Glacian's character Tristan wants to find. So yes, and haircuts are bad for you. Haven't had one in about 12 years. Really? How long is your hair then, Avatar Joel? I'm not risking a haircut right now. I've been trimming my own too. Yeah, for sure. It was due time. Yay. Well, I hope you're happy with it, Forgotten. Sometimes it can make you feel a bit better when you've had that haircut. Since I've had a proper haircut, let's just say I'm sitting on my hair. Yeah, and that's cool as well. I like that. We need more long-haired dudes. There's not enough. But it's also fine if you like short hair too. Everybody should be what they want to be. My hair is way too long. Just joking. I have long dreadlocks. Didn't cut it for about 6 years. It was about to my belly button. Got the locks put in, and I've had the locks for about 6 years too. Oh, awesome! That's cool. I always have to keep my hair buzz cut. Yeah, Rex's buzz cut. Kappa. They are almost down to my belly button again. That's even longer than mine, guys. My hair doesn't seem to like grow any more than the current length it is. Last time I went to a proper barber was back in 2002. Oh really? What hairstyle did you have then, Moon? Did you have a buzz cut? Right guys, so we're going to carry on with the sheets. We're going to get Hank, Woody and Oliver done today. Even if they're very messy, I'm going to work on the tidying up off stream and all the looking at the spelling and making sure that the typos aren't there. That'll all be done off stream. But the main stuff is actually spending time talking about the characters today and filling in all the stuff. But if you guys have any questions at all, feel free to throw them at me. Anything at all related to the game, your character sheets that you want to make, romancing, because I know romancing has been we've been on the subject of it today. And yeah, we haven't implemented it. It's not going to be introduced till a later episode properly, but it is always going to be happening from the start, you know. So before episode 1's release, I'm going to make sure that any character that's been introduced in episode 1, we've we're going to explore who's going to be romanceable out of all those characters that have been. And then because we don't want to release episode 1 and be like, oh crap, we should have made that character from episode 1 romanceable, and then it's too late. So things, of course, are important to discuss like that before it gets released, but it's easy enough to implement. It's not going to be something that's like, oh damn it, it's too late, as long as it's not, if it's before the release. And your game looks amazing. I'm definitely following. I have to hop off for a work call though. Ooh, well, I hope it's a nice call. I hope it's a nice person on the other end. And thank you so much for the follow as well. I appreciate that. And thank you for the kind comments as well. We're working on character sheets. We've been working on them for a bit. But it's always useful to get these done. They've been a long time coming, and the thing I like about character sheets is it's the easiest way for new people like you to find out about who we've got in the game and what they're like, and get to know the cast. It's so important when you're making a game like this, so people aren't lost and confused. And I'm not going to be doing this just for characters, I'm going to be doing it for places as well. So when we fleshed out the Everbloom Forest and Lakefall, I'm going to make a character sheet for those as well. Not doing it yet because the world building of those areas hasn't been completely discussed and confirmed. There's still a lot out in the open for those. So once we've had a good talk about the world building of those towns, which will be in July on the Trello page, we've got that planned. That will be when I do the character sheets for those. Mine grows out, not down. It's not pretty, really. Astral, have you got an afro? Because if you have, that's amazing. I always wish that people who like had hair like that didn't chop it off. I think they should like full on grow a full afro, because I think they just look pretty cool. But I'm a really non-traditional person, guys, so I'm not conventional. I'm very alternative in that way. So I'm always pro all these haircuts that wouldn't be appropriate in corporate jobs. I always just say, no guys, just grow your hair, just grow it all. Don't listen to the job. And I think Hank looks sad. Yeah, he's definitely meant to. And what I find interesting about that is that he's actually okay at this point. The point when he's truly sad is that's Hank is most sad. But yeah, I think even when he's like happy, where he still has a sad look to him, and that is kind of what we're going for with Hank. He is the melancholy character of the barrels, because they've all got their emotional disposition, their own emotional disposition. Carol's angry, Meryl's excited, Elvira's calm, Hank's gonna be melancholy. Woody is going to be... What was Woody's now? There was definitely... Let me get the character form up, because I forgot the emotional dispositions you got. But Oliver's curious. He's going to be the curious one. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I forgot Woody's, because that to me was very obvious. But I need to remind myself what they are on the list. So we've got angry, anxious, apathetic, calm, curious, excited, joyful, and melancholy. It's got to be joyful, hasn't it, for Woody? It's hard to say, because he's a pretty complicated one, Woody. I mean, he's comic relief. He has this bravado, and he has this grin plastered on his face. But he's also full on insecure and hates being known as a cardboard box, but he still doesn't show that insecurity. Okay, so let's fill in Hank. Before we talk about Woody and Oliver Wood, we'll get Hank done first. Let's put some focus on Hank. Okay, so the perma worried look, yeah. He's a nice old man. So he's melancholy. I've got my forms up so I can see what these are. Optimistic or pessimistic? He's optimistic. He's not, although he's a sad one, he still sees the bright side, I guess. Elvira's the pessimistic one of the couple, of the two older barrels. I think if we had them both be pessimistic, it would be too much, especially because Carol is pessimistic as well. But Meryl is optimistic. But Meryl can have her like little rages as well sometimes, but she's definitely a more optimistic version of Carol. He's honest in integrity. To be honest, they're all honest. All the barrel characters are going to be honest. Impulsiveness, control, cautious. Yeah, I feel like he should be that. He's more open-minded though. See, Elvira's narrow-minded, but Hank's far nicer and more accepting and less ignorant and judgmental than Elvira. And he's reserved as well, and he's traditional. I think everything else that Elvira has is perfect, and Hank shares those same personality traits. The only difference is he's more melancholy, optimistic, and open-minded than Elvira. He's like your typical sweet granddad who has lots of knowledge on the world and you want to listen to stories of, but he has this sadness about him as he said, as he does all that. Okay, so what is your biggest flaw? I'm going to just, of course, get rid of what we typed in for Elvira. So none of you guys get confused and think that Hank is some racist. Because that's not Hank, that's Elvira. But we do have this other face for Hank, just so everybody knows. Shortly after we first encounter him, not us as the player, because we don't meet them yet, but we encounter Hank and the others in a flashback sequence that he's told by Carol. And within the first minute or two of the scene, Hank ends up having an accident and then looks like that. But when we first meet him, he doesn't have the hole, so we're going to have him as that. Just because the character sheet is always how the characters look when you first meet them, how they are right at the start. Okay, so what is Hank's biggest flaw? This is an interesting one. So, because I feel like Hank is perfect, so it's an interesting one to consider. In all honesty, maybe I'm being emotionally... I'm looking at the current list of flaws we've got. Impatient, lazy, paranoid, manipulative, angry, greedy, xenophobic, forgetful, selfish, judgmental, controlling, moody, emotionally fragile, power hungry, and socially awkward. See, some of them are terrible for Hank in that particular list anyway. If anything, out of those that I see Hank being... I mean, forgetful's a great flaw for an older guy. But emotionally fragile could fit because, you know, look at him. He looks like you wouldn't want to, you'd never say anything bad to Hank, it would break his little heart. So he could totally be emotionally fragile, and that could be a flaw. And the fact that the others aren't emotionally fragile, I mean, Elvira's sassy and strong as ever. Nothing would break Elvira, apart from mongrels. Meryl's pretty feisty and strong emotionally too, even though she can get a bit on one on events sometimes, but she's still pretty, she gives it all she gets, and Carol definitely does. Woody is, you know, I honestly think if anyone's emotionally fragile, it would be Hank. I don't know about lazy. I don't know if I think of him as a lazy one, because he's always there to be there for the family if they need. So let me just Google something. I always find looking at D&D 5e flaws a kind of cool, as inspiration for ideas, you know. Maybe being too kind would be a flaw for Hank as well. But I can get the dialogue up from the cutscene, because although I haven't officially released the cutscene to you guys yet of the barrels, the one that we've done, we do have the dialogue here, so let me get it up. And welcome Joel as well to the Discord. It's so cool to see all you guys joining. FF11 music, it might be Azrael. There's definitely some Final Fantasy 11 tracks on this playlist. So maybe his obscenity is his biggest flaw. Yeah, I'm definitely up for seeing what you guys would think could be appropriate flaws for these guys. So that basically, it's a sort of way of being stubborn, isn't it? I think I can see Elvira as being the stubborn one in the relationship of Hank and Elvira. I see them as very different. Hank's soft and kind and maybe a bit too sweet and fragile. He's like just the sweet old man. And why is this Photoshop being silly? Just move this, you know. I couldn't even imagine him having a nasty bone in his body, whereas Elvira does. She can be harsh, as she says full out. She goes, we don't want mongrels in our family, to Carol about the oil drum. An oil drum isn't what she wants in her family. So let me get the dialogue up just so we can remind ourselves what Hank's personalities are, and just so you guys can see too. Being too yielding, yeah, maybe that's the thing. The opposite of stubborn is perfect for Hank. Too yielding, too submissive. But yeah, I think that's great, Van. That's exactly how I see Hank. For sure, so that'll likely be the one. Let's have a peek. But we could always put a couple of flaws in if there's more than one, but that could be one of them. So Hank comes into the flashback when Oliver starts asking questions, because Oliver's a cute, curious little boy. He's very intrigued about the world and wants to find things out. and he asks lots of questions. And when Elvira says to Meryl, you know, we don't want boxes and oil drums in our family, you'd make mongrels with my granddaughters. Oliver's like, what's a mongrel? And he's like being all sweet, and Hank comes up to him and starts telling him a story about stars, because that's how the cutscene begun. And he's been a good granddad. He's been really sweet and patient and knowledgeable. He's also, we have kind of reduced some sort of religion lore into this as well, which is very, very, very basic right now, but it could very much be expanded on at some point when there's a good time to talk about it. But yeah, so there's not really much in terms of flaws that gets revealed about Hank here. But another thing we know is that he is a hero, because he jumps in front of Oliver and saves him during the cart hijacking when they get kidnapped. Basically, Carol smashes into Hank when Hank jumps in front of Oliver to save him, because Oliver's made out of ceramic. He's a cookie jar. He would break if he was dropped. He is so precious. So Hank was like, no, and he gets smashed in the process, and that's how he ends up with the hole in him. So he's such a kind grandpa that he would literally jump in front of his grandson to save him. So yeah, we've seen all the good sides of Hank from this cutscene. So I'm with Van that he should be too yielding and submissive. Submissive Hank, bless him. He's so sweet. Okay, so I suppose too submissive is probably the best way to put it. But if anyone has any ideas and thinks, oh, well, could expand on that a bit, feel free to. I'm trying to keep it all on one line, just so I don't have to enlarge the character sheet, because it takes a while to do that. But I think we could easily get this info on one line. Would Hank ever share a smoke with Elvira? Oh, that's a really, really interesting question, National. You're always really good at thinking of these things that nobody else sees. And when you say them, I'm like, oh yeah, that's really an interesting one. And that's another thing. Like, what does Hank think of Elvira being such a smoker? Does he approve of it? Does he think, yeah, let her do it, you know, let her enjoy herself? Or is he one of these husbands that's like, oh, put that away? I imagine him being the first, because we've already said he's submissive, so I imagine he lets Elvira have the say, and she's the one who does what she wants, and Hank wouldn't tell her what to do. Hank would never. But does he share a smoke? That's another thing to think altogether. Would he? Is he too much of a hell freak to do that, Hank, or would he do it? I could imagine him doing it. I think he'd do it, yeah. What do you guys think? I think Elvira will bully Hank if he tries to take her tobacco, yeah. Maybe he would. I can't see him being snobby in regards to things like that. I think he'd be willing to give things a go. Hank could full on smoke pot, you know. He would, look at him. So I think he would totally have a bit of Elvira's where is she? I think he'd totally have a smoke. He'd like a smoke, but Elvira, like you say, she might bully him. It wouldn't surprise me. I mean, Elvira, I do want to say about Elvira, although we know her as this hard woman who's a bit of a racist and control freak, she does love Hank, you know. She loves Hank. They're not a toxic relationship, and I think it's important that we show that there's care between the two, and she absolutely adores him. But that doesn't mean they can't have a bit of banter and her be like, "Oi, that's my smoke." Like, that's totally fine and that's charming, and you know, typical married old couple kind of banter would suit them, I think, for sure. But she wouldn't, it would all be very light-hearted, and it definitely wouldn't be anything mean or anything. Because I think we got to make Elvira have some good points. Like, she does care about family. She's not the fact that she's got some awful negative traits, some flaws, means that she needs to make up for that in some way with her character. Otherwise, she's just not going to be likeable. I wholly disapprove and only occasionally partake as a Puff escapes his side. Yeah, you think he'd disapprove, National? It's interesting, and it's interesting to debate it and consider it about how that would go. And this is another thing I look forward to with you guys, especially as I release more cutscenes, because we'll all get a picture of who they are as people. And we'll come up with like some really interesting scenarios and dialogues for them, I'm sure. I like it. I've saved what you've said anyway, National. So we've just got to think of his goal, his biggest fear, and anything else he'd like to tell us. So looking at the little thing we've got here, it says about Hank, a calm-wise barrel who got disabled during a car hijacking. So this car hijacking is the scene that we meet them in and see them in first, and that's when that happens. That's when he gets his hole. So I don't know whether we should put that about that happening in his character sheet, because it kind of is a bit spoilerish, and he doesn't know this in his present time, so it doesn't make sense to talk about the future when it hasn't happened yet. So we could just put something else in there. But let's consider fears for a man like Hank, or a barrel like Hank. What sort of fears somebody like Hank would have? So on the character sheet, some fears I've got listed here are failure, heights, spiders, darkness, blood, growing old, disease, death, fire, water, magic mirrors, ghosts, needles, open spaces, children, strangers, germs and technology. Those are some very good fears there in that list. Whether any apply to Hank, I don't know. But just to remind ourselves what the other characters' fears are, because it can help to, you know, get a bit of a... So Elvira's his mongrels breaking up the structure of the family, whereas Hank, I really honestly don't think Hank's got a prejudiced bone in his body. He's more open-minded, so that wouldn't be anything that bothers Hank at all. In fact, I don't think Hank has a problem with Axel at all. You know, even if Axel was up to no good, he's too nice and too submissive to say anything about it. And it's interesting to think of what possible fears there could be for somebody as laid back as Hank, you know. It's interesting to think that. Meryl's fear is disappointing Axel or losing him. So hers is all to do with her love. And Carol's is to not be able to find her family. Which I'm sure Carol's got far more fears than that. Carol's going to be she's going to be a flashed out character, very layered. And that's going to, you know, she's the main character, that's important. But because that's her story, that's her arc, and that's the whole main story of Raindrop Chronicles at this time, finding her family, that is really her ultimate thing and all she's thinking about right now. But there's definitely probably other fears there beneath the surface that we'll find out over time with Carol. I think he'd be very much approving. He looks cool. He does. I honestly could imagine him smoking pot and just chilling, Hank. I do. He seemed like that sort of cool cool kind of grandpa that just wouldn't have any problems or issues with anything. He just wants a chill life. Maybe not being listened to, like nobody thinks his opinion matters. Yeah, that could be. One thing about Hank is that he's a wise old man. He's full of knowledge. I mean, barrels haven't lived very long since the spell brought them to life, but to Hank, he's an old barrel compared to all the other containers. He's the oldest, so he's, in the life he has lived so far, he's kind of absorbed some knowledge from what he's observed. Definitely see him as a bit of an observer. So something like the fear being related to not his knowledge or losing his knowledge. Maybe forget, like, you know, something like, I can agree that something like people don't value his knowledge, like you say opinion, but maybe having that as nobody listens to his knowledge or stories could work, because I don't know, like, whether Hank would really be the most opinionated sort of character because he's so laid back, but he definitely has the knowledge. So I could definitely see him being a bit sad if his knowledge isn't listened to or appreciated, because in the flashback he definitely gets some enjoyment from telling Oliver his stories. So that's one, but it is definitely difficult to think for fear for someone so laid back, because he's pretty much just going with how things are, you know. He's plodding along. Fear of outliving the younger generations, yeah, and he's definitely a non-selfish type, so I could imagine he would hate that. He would love his family too, as much as Elvira. Gotta unplug my phone. Oh, enjoy your BRB banishing. But yeah, it's an interesting one. I definitely see what Scaly and National say. I can see for sure. So, we could have both, so. How to word it is the thing. Because if I word it as nobody listening to my knowledge or something like that, it sounds very entitled, and it might make Hank sound like, you know, a bit of a entitled one, which we don't want to do because he's so kind. Yeah, it's a difficult one, because I think he's so, like, submissive that even if somebody didn't listen to him or just was like, whatever, old man, to him, he'd be sad by that. But at the same time, he's so submissive that he'd just accept it. So, yeah. Fear of that's, I think maybe, yeah, we could go for that one then. What about no one listened to his knowledge until after it's too late for it to be useful to them? Yeah. Maybe he's scared of being forgotten or left out. Yeah. I think he is a melancholy one, and he would definitely be sad by things, and he definitely would have his fears. But he's not outspoken enough to kind of say anything about them if they happen. He'd just accept it. Yeah, it's a funny one with Hank. I want it to all fit on one line as well, simply because I'm being lazy and don't want to make it bigger. Okay. We could also, you know, add something here, because I'm actually struggling with anything else you would like to tell us bits. So could say something like what National said here on this particular bit. I was thinking of getting chewed up or eaten by termites, but how awful. Okay. bonfire nightmares. What are bonfire nightmares? I'm lost. Okay, I have a lot of knowledge and stories to tell. I have knowledge and stories to tell that I hope can be useful to others. I think I like wording like that because it makes him seem, he's not sounding arrogant, like, oh, look at me, I have all this knowledge, I'm a smart old man. Like, Hank's not arrogant like that. So when it comes to knowledge, all the knowledge and stories he wants to tell, he thinks of it, you know, benefiting others, you know, because he's sweet. So kind of like what National said there about he likes the knowledge he's got. He wants to tell these stories, but of course he wants people to listen, and you know, he doesn't want to think that all that knowledge he's got will go to waste and no one will know about it. So I think that's probably an easy way to sum it up. Okay, so yeah, so we got a couple here. He could like, being left out could be one, but part of me thinks that would suit Woody even more. Him being the non-barrel of the group. I mean, Oliver isn't a barrel either, but he's far more loved than Woody. But Woody is kind of mocked a lot by the group, and I suppose he would fear being left out and left behind more than anybody, because he's not a barrel like the others. The barrels will always stick together ultimately because they're all the same. But Woody, so what scared, the left out one that Sky mentioned, I think fits Woody great. You know, or there's a few with Woody, there's a few because he's pretty complex and he has his insecurities. Okay, so I'm gonna put outliving the younger generations. I try to approach Hank from a very non-selfish perspective. So any fears or thoughts, it's all about others being and that others' well-being, you know. So I think that will be a cool way to do it. Poor Woody being marked by himself, no shame in being more flexible than everyone else, my boy. Yeah, Chub Cheeks, I think that Woody will end up being romanceable, by the way, just so you know, by I think by both males and females as well, because in our game you can be either a female or a male custom hero character. You get the choice. So when it comes to romancing, you know, sometimes it's like, okay, so, but I think a lot of the characters probably will be both genders, but there will be some that will just be one gender, because some characters might be like gay. Like I think Zex's character might be, but I'll have to confirm with him that only males will be able to romance him. But I don't even know if his character will be romanceable though, because he has a lost love, and I don't know whether that lost love will be found or not, or whether they're completely in the past. That's something that I'll have to find out about. Okay, so, but Woody, yes. It's a lot easier to make the non-community characters romanceable, because we know that their character arcs, nobody's got a picture in mind for them, so we can kind of do what we want with them because they're not anybody's character. As long as me and Woody get some Witcher level romance scenes, I will be happy. Yeah, for sure. But that's awesome. I think he definitely needs to be, because we need another object character to be romanceable, and Woody's the only one that fits, in all honesty, other than Carol. Okay, so I'm going to save Hank's sheet now as a PSD. I'm not going to proofread it yet. I kind of do that off stream because it's hard to fully proofread when you're streaming. Oh, we haven't done Hank's goal. That's the one last thing we haven't done yet. I was about to move on to Woody as well. We haven't even done the goal. So let's think what have we got here. What I am gonna do for you guys is I'm just gonna get the form up so you can see the goals. I'll get the list of them up. So I'm going to look through and see which ones would be appropriate to Hank most. To stay alive, to return home, to find a new home, to fight for your homeland, to protect the innocent, honourable ideas, say the world belongs somewhere, find fate of somebody, complete true identity, to find love, to find legend, creature, secret, blah blah. So one thing about Hank is that he's not going to have like a completely selfish goal, I'd say. The see the world one works. To seek knowledge, obviously. I didn't even see that one. I was like, At first I was like, to see the world, because seeing the world will make you more knowledgeable. But then I saw the seek knowledge one and I was like, yes. It's really, Hank's, it's like the knowledge is Hank. He's kind of being shaped as that knowledgeable character right now. But when he has his accident, it's going to just add more depth to him, of course, because he's more than just a knowledgeable barrel. Okay, so yeah, so we've got to seek knowledge for Hank. We've got to be respected and admired for Elvira. It's all about appearances for Elvira and how she's viewed by everybody else. Whereas Hank is the wise guy he's not as superficial. Meryl is to be with love and Carol's to find a family. So let's get that saved and get that off as well. Doesn't wear Speedo. What's the Speedo? I feel like you said this in the last stream and I still don't understand. You might have said, but I forgot already. Okay. So now we're going to move on to Woody. We'll cross off Hank's faces. Don't know to explain. Sorry. It's okay, big. Branded spoonware for men. Oh, right. Well, you know, could you imagine him? If anyone's going to wear male swimming shorts or pants, it would be Woody, wouldn't it? Let's face it. He'd totally put them on. Okay, so I'm going to open Woody's and we're going to use the dry Woody. Not wet Woody, because wet Woody is what happens to him later. So if anybody's curious what wet Woody looks like, this is what he looks like. Let's get him up. So once raindrops have been put inside him, that's what he looks like. He has a full-on chin going on here, and he loves it. He is like, yes, I now am the man that everybody desires once he gets that chin. And yep, I like it. Right. Oh, it's funny because when we was talking about comic relief characters, I said to Moonshadow, yeah, we've not got a comic relief character in the game yet. And I was like, yeah, Woody. How could I have forgot about Woody? Wow. Okay, so, and Carol the Barrel is comic relief in herself, so comic relief is going to exist with many characters in this game. You can't have, there's never like enough, you know, of those type of characters. So let's copy this. Skimpy swimwear for men. That's Wet Woody, yeah, he does, yeah. So if you guys, who's seen Wet Woody for the first time today? But yeah, this was actually what we did first. Before we even did him dry, we had him like this because it was always the plan to, because we knew that raindrops were going to get put in these barrels. And Woody's not a barrel, he's a cardboard box, and he doesn't hold the water as well as they do, so you know he's gonna get a bit wet. And luckily for Woody, he looks more handsome from being wet, according to him. I mean, he'll have to look in a mirror, I assume, to know. But yeah, he wears a barrel-shaped Speedo. LOL. This is my first time witnessing Wet Woody. What a day to witness such a thing. What's that binary? This or Speedo Hank? Oh my goodness me. And to be honest, Axel would totally wear Speedos, I think. I could imagine Axel doing that. I'll be looking forward to making Axel's assets. Axel is the oil drum, by the way, Meryl's boyfriend, just to remind people who don't know what his name is. You ever worry you've lost the plot? I love him. He's one of my favourite characters. He's just bonkers. You know, you gotta have bonkers, haven't you? In things. Okay. Here we go. So Hank will have to disappear now. Okay, so he's not a sentient barrel ally, he's a sentient box ally. And I've put ally at the end as well because major NPCs are always categorised as either allies or antagonists. Oh, did I accidentally get rid of his eyes? Need to get rid of the tolerance on that one. There we go. Woody overlaid on top of Hank's sword started to look like an oil drum, yeah? The top part plus the handsome face, my goodness. It's going to be... Oh, so you do think that Woody's handsome, National? Who thinks Woody's handsome here? I'm honestly curious what the overall view is of Woody's attractiveness, because Chub Cheeks is in love. And he's going to be a romanceable option in the game, Woody is, so I can't imagine him finding love, you know. He's that guy that is desperate for love and chats up everything he sees in his sights because he wants he just wants validation more than anything. He wants to feel like he's attractive. So that's why he does it. And I couldn't imagine he'll ever get that character that finally does give him that. I mean, who knows? It makes, to me, it works for him being romanceable. It works to have him as a romanceable character. So he'll have to be kept single because of that. I could never deny Chub he's Woody or Woody he's Chub. Oh well. But yeah, so I like Woody a lot. Let's just get rid of some of the stuff we've got in. And let's get the sprite for Woody as well. Photoshop is being a slow one today. Okay. Here he is. Look at his face there, though. That's his face when the car hijacking's happening. He it's really funny to see the scene and to see his face like go from that to that to that and to that. But his default face is this one. It's really kind of strange to see Woody so peed off in these two as well. He's such a, you know, happy lad. There we go. What's this about my Woody? We're just having a gossip about him. Because, you know, it's going to happen. We're working on his character sheet. But for those that don't know, there is a famous Woody emote that I made. Rose Ragasm. You know, if anyone was going to be the Gasm emote, it was going to be Woody. So that's a bit emote, by the way, guys, not a sub one. Just so you know. So no one accidentally subs thinking they're going to get Woody. Okay, so let's fill this in. So we got Woody sent in box ally goal question mark. We'll do the goal at the end. I find it's easier to do the goal when we've written in the other information. So his emotional disposition isn't going to be melancholic, because that's Hank. So Carol's angry. Excited is Meryl. Calm is Elvira, and melancholy is Hank. Curious will be Oliver. So the only other ones that haven't been taken yet for these group of characters are anxious, apathetic, and joyful. He is totally joyful out of those three. He's like, you know, the comic relief. He's got that big grin. How could he not be joyful? And yeah, there's probably times he's going to get a bit, you know, insecure or a bit annoyed by the mocking, but I feel like he still keeps that humour even when he's getting mocked. It's part of his appeal as a character. So he's the most joyful out of the group. It just feels like the only one that really fits him. I think the emotes need to be a bit more common knowledge. Lots of people don't know they exist. Yeah, which is why we need to spam them. I mean, I could always put them as a banner. I have thought, you know, this overlay we've got, you know, that banner at the top that's got the characters and raindroprpg.com. I have thought about making that a sort of sliding banner that slides to different things over time. I haven't got around to doing that yet, but that could be something that gets put in the banners, I suppose, showing the emotes. I want to do one for the others. Alvira, Hank and Oliver need emotes too for the others. No, I don't think anyone will have them though. Well, not many people anyway, because they're such giant bit badgy amounts. But I definitely still want to do them because we need emotes for those guys too. Okay, so optimistic, yes. Integrity, honest, yes. None of the group are deceitful, even though they've got their flaws. They're all an honest bunch. So impulsiveness would be spontaneous for Woody. Boldness, cautious or reckless. Reckless, obviously. I mean, the way he makes his jokes, they're all reckless jokes. He certainly doesn't think before he speaks, and he's a very bold one. He certainly does not. Okay, so agreeableness, open-minded. Yeah, he'd be open-minded for sure. Interactivity, talkative or reserved. Talkative. Traditional or rebellious. Rebellious. What cardboard box that calls themselves Woody isn't rebellious? Because if he wasn't rebellious, he'd just be called Cardboard. That would be his name. Not Woody. He's rebelled against what he really is. So yes, that is Woody's profile. What has he got in common with Carol and Meryl then? I feel like optimistic, honest, spontaneous. Yeah, he is very, very similar to Meryl. You know, that him and Meryl have a very similar personality. She's just a bit more excitable and he's more joyful. But they have a lot in common. They're the same. And that makes sense to me. I do think Woody and Meryl are quite similar. Even their desire to be loved. I mean, Woody's just happy being loved by anybody who talks to him, but Meryl just wants to be loved by Hank. Hank wants to be loved by Axel. That's the only difference. She's codependent and loyal to one, whereas Woody is everybody. He's a ladies' man or a man's man, but it depended on. Yeah. Is he rebellious though, or just in denial? I mean, he could. There's a scale, isn't there? And I'm sure, like, when you think of these things like reckless, cautious, spontaneous, reserved, and all that, sometimes the character might fall on going the other way. Sometimes, but I think of as a whole, what is the most? You know, what speaks to me more for him is that he's rebellious, but it doesn't mean he's always going to be rebellious in every single situation. But yeah, it's interesting to think, why is he Woody? Is he in denial? Does he really think he is a Wood? Is he that deluded? Or does he just, does he rebel? He's a complicated one. Hold up, he's saying Woody's cheated on me. I don't think he would. I think if he found love, he'd be loyal. I think he's just one of these types that explore while he's single, while he's a bachelor. Okay, so also I've got to save this as Woody. Okay, so this is Hank's stuff, so I prefer to get rid of what was in before because people will get confused. They'll think that that's Woody. Okay, so biggest flaw. So biggest fear, something Scaly Star said earlier made me think, oh, that's actually suitable for Woody. Something like basically being left out, but I guess it's being a bit more expanded upon, but it's kind of along those lines. It's like being, because he's the black sheep, right? He's the black sheep of the bunch, so his biggest fear would be to be left behind because he's different, because he's not the same, because he's not as good or weaker, you know, something that just where he's not validated, something that makes him feel not accepted. I imagine would be a fear of him. Rejection, yes. In fact, rejection sums it up perfectly. I don't even know if we have to expand on that. It could be as simple as just rejection being a fear. It works well for Woody. Biggest flaw for Woody, being deluded and inappropriate with jokes. But is that a flaw? Having no filter. Deluded strikes me as the main one for Woody. And being insecure as well, of course. Like if we look here, we just get rid of Photoshop set we've got. An insecure cardboard box who makes everyone call him Woody. So insecurity and delusion. Too handsome is a flaw. I love it. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm just looking up a list of flaws, guys. Seeing if there's a way to sum it up good. Because I kind of know, we know what it is, but it's just a wording it is the thing. And Frozen Attacker, thank you so much for that follow. Welcome to the stream. Too large than life for some people. That is definitely one as well. I mean, that could have worked for Meryl in a way as too. Because both of them are similar. But yeah, that could work. Would that be, I suppose that would be put in. I mean, the insecure and deluded thing I'm wondering about now, because those are obvious flaws, but they're not flaws that Woody would ever admit in a million years. and they're very, very, they're not obvious or like too on the surface sort of flaws. That's a better like flaw that Woody probably would admit. But we could always expand on that sort of subject to things on this part. So we've got you could just mention how he makes everyone call him Woody because he wants to be. Let's look at some dialogue. I kind of want to read back this. He thinks it's not, you know, he thinks he's like, I mean, he even calls himself a man here. And Carol's like, you know, you're just a cardboard box. So I think Nat is really just, he doesn't like that. He doesn't like to be seen as just a cardboard box. He wants to think himself as somebody who's more than that. Which is why, I mean, he calls him a Woody because he happens to be associating with things that are made out of wood. But I'm sure he'd like to be considered a man as well, a human. Would be even better for him if he could. Okay, so maybe something to tie those three ideas together, like it's difficult to see who he really is because it's easy to see him as someone he's not. Yeah, and well, on the anything else section you could put, I've got a lot to offer if someone would listen. Ooh, what would he have to offer then? I'm not just a cardboard box, I have a lot to offer if someone would listen. I think mentioning that cardboard box thing is a thing, because it's so key to him, the fact that it's like, well, why is he called Woody when he's not made out of wood? Because he hangs out with things that are made out of wood and he wants to feel as good as them, you know. He don't like just being the thing that's made out of cardboard. And hi Husky, how you doing? It's good to see you. And let me read what Mars said again. Yeah, and that's a point as well. But yeah, we can just like simply say something like that. Something like, oops. So I might need to make this one longer. Acts like a man, is really a box, yeah, basically. And I think that if someone listen is an interesting to add, because ultimately that is the thing with Woody. He's not really listened to. He makes all these jokes and he's got all this bravado and charm, and it's just ignored really. Like he says it and the others in the group just think, oh, it's just Woody, and like kind of just look down on him, I guess, while he's there making these jokes. And he doesn't feel listened to. There's absolutely no way, because when you're treated like that, people just like, oh, Woody again, just, you know, they don't take him seriously. And maybe he has something you know, to say that actually makes sense to people. So maybe this is true. Maybe he does have something to offer. No one is taking me seriously. And rejection is definitely the perfect fear for Woody. I think Chuck Cheeks definitely got that spot on. So but yeah, I'm trying to think if I can shorten this, because if I can get it on one line, that would be great, because it'll save me having to do some resizing stuff. But if not, then that's fine, because we want to get all the information in. That's the most important thing. I mean, we could get rid of the cardboard line, but it kind of, that's the key part that he's made from cardboard. What's his goal? Well, we've got to still do that one. I'm kind of saving the goals to last now, because it's a lot easier for them to come to you once you've fleshed out the rest of their stuff. So we'll go back to that one. Yeah, I think this one could potentially be expanded on. Could even add more here, but if I do that, we'll have to just make the canvas a little larger. It'll only take a few minutes. No fuss. Okay. Or cut the I'm not just even I. Yeah. I could get rid of that I'm not just a cardboard box thing completely if necessary, but something I kind of or we could even do this. We could put rejected for being a cardboard for being a cardboard box. I don't know. I guess I'm kind of keen to put the cardboard box thing, just because that is ultimately it with Woody. It's the fact of who he is, him being a cardboard box, that makes him not listened to and not taken seriously and rejected. And you know, it's obvious that he is a box though. Yeah, he'll fit even as a cardboard box, and you'll learn in the game what he is. Yeah, true. So it's fine. Like, maybe I'm being too obvious if I put that, so for sure. So yeah, that's cool. Let's think of a goal then. So we do have a list. But we can always adapt some of them if none of them fit Woody, but we'll see. I feel like to entertain, delight others it could be one for Woody, because he wants to. That's why he makes jokes as well. But maybe he would go deeper than just that, because it might not be just delighting others that he wants. That might just be the front for Woody. So we've also got I think acceptance. I mean, to belong somewhere is the key one, and a few characters of that one, because it's a very, you know, a lot of people want to belong somewhere in some way or another. And I think it fits for Woody as well. But we could always alter the wording if we want to make it more appropriate for Woody. Like something like to be... Have we got one about validation at all here? I was thinking to be accepted or to be listened to or something along those lines. But I don't know if I'm happy with that wording. And that one's Alvira's, the to be respected and admired one. And I feel Woody to a degree is like that, but just in a more, obviously not in the same way as Alvira. Alvira's all about, I want people to look at us as she's snobby with it, Alvira is. Well, Woody isn't snobby at all. He doesn't want to be, he just wants to be listened to and not like made the butt of jokes and not taken seriously. Acceptance is, yeah, an appropriate for Woody, yeah. So, yeah, I guess it's whether we should just go for the to belong somewhere or we make it a bit more specific and word it as to be accepted. I mean, there's even to find love. I mean, Woody is very, part of his acceptance is very wanting to impress the ladies, you know. Alvira has to say to him, my granddaughters aren't interested in you, Woody. Stop trying to make moves on my granddaughters, because he does it all the time. So he definitely is looking for that partner. And I think a lot of his it's not really about making friends. I mean, it could be. He might want companions too, but it is about finding someone too. So that's why he's going to be a romance option as well, for those that want to be with Woody. But yeah, that we've already got Meryl, who is to be with her love, which isn't to find true love, it's different. But it's, Woody might be a bit less specific than that. It might be, that might be part of it. Yes, he wants to find someone who loves him, but he just wants to be also loved by everybody as well. His companions, not just one person too. He needs to lay off the hammer on the women and get some self-confidence, yeah. And for sure, his jokes are definitely a front, and it's just bravado, you know. So the goal to entertain and delight others wouldn't really fit him, even though that's what it seems like he's trying to do. He entertain and delight others. It's just all a big front to just protect his fragile ego, and to not appear vulnerable. Okay, so goal. So to belong somewhere, in a way, he's already got that. He has found a home with the barrels. The only problem is they don't really listen to him. He doesn't feel fully accepted. So honestly, to be accepted does feel like let's just get it up. So to be accepted does feel like the best way to sum it up for Woody, which wasn't an official goal on the list, but like I said, I'm fine to adjust these, of course. And if anything, I can add more goals to that list if there's more. We could go on forever with goals. And if there's any at all over time that you guys think of that aren't on the list, I would be totally up for adding them. To find love, that ties in from others and from himself. Yeah, and to find love, I was kind of very tempted to put that as his goal. Once I saw it on the list, I was like, yeah, that Woody wants to find love. But I think that's just part of it, isn't it? He wants to find the love, but he wants to be accepted as well. So to find love would just be like 50% of his goal. And because Meryl's is so love focused, maybe making Woody's not so love focused kind of stops two characters being too similar there. But yeah, I thought for sure that could have worked for Woody the Find Love one. And I think in a way it does, but that would just be 50% of his goal. Finding love is one half, and the other half would be to find acceptance from friends and others in the world. But he definitely wants that partner as well. And want to see my take? Perfect pickup line for Woody. I'm going to save it. I appreciate all the dialogue suggestions, because eventually when we start doing scenes, you never know, it's always good to get all the suggested dialogue ideas up and think, you know, what ones could work in this scene then. Hi Van, Forgotten and National, welcome back Aggro, how you doing? But yes, so there we go guys. I think we've got a pretty different cast. None of them are too similar now. I mean, there was risk of Woody becoming too close to Meryl, but there's differences. The difference is Meryl only cares about being loved by Axel. It's all just about one person for Meryl. One person is her whole world. And Woody is more, I want everybody to listen and take me seriously. You know, so that's the difference. So they've all got very different goals, I'd say. Now, eating pizza rolls for lunch, LOL. Oh, I hope they're yummy. Sounds really yummy. I want one. Okay, so everything's filled in. If it's filled in, I'd say. So now Oliver is our last companion of Carol's to do, which is great. If we can get him done today, I will be happy. What I am intending to do is get all their directions in though, guys, because we've only got the one sprite so far. Carol's got all her directions in, but I'm still working on their side view faces because Meryl's looks a bit goofy at the moment, so I'm trying to make it look a bit better. Right, so let's copy this. So Oliver is next, and he is pretty precious. I like him. So let's get Oliver's face first. Let's get the face in first and then adjust the rest. Now Oliver is Carol's son, which is interesting seeing as he's not a barrel. He's not a baby barrel, he's just a baby cookie jar. Because barrels, you know, it's not biological. They can't give birth or have children like the rest of us. These guys just happen to be brought to life at the same time from a spell. And this cookie jar was among them as one of the containers. And Carol became, you know, she was nurturing. She probably was saw this cookie jar when he came to life, and they just formed that community and that bond over time, and she's took the motherly role with Oliver. And Oliver is the one that Carol cares about the most. He is the one she cares about most when it comes to finding them. She loves the others, but he's the precious one to her. And he's the one that opens Carol's softer side more than anybody else can, because we only see Carol as this hostile Sundayer type of character, but it's like she changes when she's around Ollie. Can you even eat one pizza? I know, my goodness, you'd have to have such willpower. Is it International Pizza Day today? That's awesome. Cookie jar equals barrel plus, I know. Unless they are the huge ones. Oliver is so cute. He is. He's really cute. I like him a lot. And I think that's the goal with Oliver's character, guys. He's the that precious one that you just want to make sure is looked after and doesn't get hurt. And he's the most vulnerable. He's even more vulnerable than Hank. Even when Hank's got the hole in him, he's still more vulnerable because he's made out of clay or ceramic, you know. If he was dropped, he'd break. He'd be dead. The other barrels could drop and they would be fine because wood is pretty strong stuff. Apart from Hank, because he's an old barrel now, that's why he got the hole in him. Because he is getting a bit old, poor Hank. Okay, so let's get Oliver's sprite in though, because we've still got Woody there. And we do have all the directions for Oliver, so we can always put them in. He's the cutest. That means he's going to die at some point. We don't know. This is the fun thing about Raindrop Chronicles, guys. Everything is improvised. Like, although I'm gonna keep a structured main arc just to keep things in line and not get too crazy and random. I'm gonna have that structure that we follow. I still am very much going to keep things very open in terms of how things end up, because that's for us to decide, you know, as from polls and votes, who lives, who dies, who ends up happy, who ends up not happy. But there'll be multiple endings anyway. So in certain endings, some characters might get bad endings and others might get good ones, and from all the different endings we'll have. But which one's the default for him? Look at him in that one. No binary ferret. Oliver and Blueberry would be an interesting friendship, I know, right? And the interesting thing I have to say here, just because National mentioned it, Hank and Oliver's relationship parallels Lemons and Blueberry's. Like, really parallels, because Hank jumps in front of Oliver to save Oliver from getting hurt during the car hijacking. Hank gets injured in the process while doing that. And Blueberry and Lemon jumps in front of Blueberry as well during the boss fight when the hero attacks Blueberry. So there is that parallel. Like, Blueberry and Oliver are both precious, young, innocent, naive children, and Hank and Lemon are both sort of older, protective grandpas. So yeah, I think that's pretty cool, for sure. And we'll be talking more about the fruit characters next week, guys, because some of you that are new here don't really know much about those guys, the fruits. But because they're the first boss of the game, we'll be focusing on them next week, because we'll be doing some mechanic stuff, battle mechanic stuff next week. See, now my character is gone again. How dare? Oh, he's here now. I'm gonna have to keep an active eye out, but it's hard when I'm like streaming at the same time to stare at the Steam avatars, the stream avatar thing. But it's strange that yours is disappearing, but not nobody else's. For sure. But I'll have a look in the settings over the weekend and see if there's anything that's gone wrong. But who knows? Maybe it's a glitch with the program. But to be honest, Rex, you're probably still getting your raindrops. I know that's the main thing you're worried about. You want to get the raindrops, and I think even if you're not in the stream avatars, you'd still get the raindrops. Because why would you not? The only reason you wouldn't get raindrops is if you weren't lurking, I suppose. It's probably just a glitch with the program. Barrel plus flower pot equals cookie jar. Hi Fantasia, how you doing? The fate of Oliver Poll, I look forward to it. I know. I feel at some point, just from the fact that he's made out of clay, he's the cute one that we're trying to protect, I feel at some point his life's going to be in danger. Especially because he's been kidnapped by dangerous people as well. We don't know what these people are capable of, and if they're willing to discard Hank just from having a hole in him, they could easily hurt a little cookie jar too. And the cookie jar is so small that he can't really store much water, much raindrops, and that might also make him pretty, would they have a use for him too? But who knows? Maybe there's more to Oliver. Maybe he's special. Maybe he could be different in some way. But this is just theories and ideas I'm thinking it. Okay. Haven't been here the whole time? Well, you're here now. Yay. I just had the perfect idea for a side quest where we are having some kind of dream and everyone's character is reversed. We have a bossy Hank and a submissive Alvira. Oh my god, that'd be hilarious. I'm saving that. I'm all for like these crazy, wacky, memorable, enjoyable quest lines. And I've always said, guys, and I'm going to say it again because it's important, when it comes to side quests in Raindrop Chronicles, I want them to be memorable. I don't want throwaway side quests. I would rather have 10, like in episode 1, I'd rather have between 5 and 10 incredible quality memorable side quests than 50 really boring go fetch me that leaf side quest with absolutely no substance behind it. So quests like what Forgotten Crusader just said are, in my opinion, an example of what a memorable quest would be. People would play that and would remember it five years later because it was just funny and entertaining. And this is how I feel about The Witcher 3. It's a game that has side quests in it that I remember 3 years after I played it because they're stuck in my mind permanently because either they were really entertaining and made me laugh, made me smile, made me think, wow, that's really unique and an interesting lore and outcome, or just something that gives you something that just make you remember. It's so important to me when it comes to quests in this game. And quiet or we'll make a piggy bank out of you. Oh my goodness, being mean to poor Oliver. Yeah, I'm saving that dialogue national. And yeah, I can imagine he's gonna be the one who's most, you fear the safety of the most, just because he's so precious, and if he even got dropped, he would be dead. If a human got pushed or a barrel got pushed, it'd still be okay because they're strong. But this guy isn't. He's so vulnerable. So I think like that tension and like, oh no, I hope Oliver's not going to get hurt, is going to be something I kind of want to make the most of. Okay, so Oliver's sheet. Now we've got to just, because we've got all directions for Oliver, we can get them all in for now. I'm actually going to use Carol's sheet as a template for this, so we can get them all in the right positions. Delete Woody. Fetch quests are the worst, I know, right, aggro, and I just know how it feels as a player, how much I dislike them, so I never want to make them myself. It just, you know, to me, making this game is about creating an experience that matters. And why would you do that with fetch quests when there's already thousands of them in RPGs? It's like pointless, utterly pointless, and a waste of time. I want every moment to matter and at least give some joy and entertainment value, or have some meaning to it, and make you think and ponder. And that that's the kind of thing I like. Oh my goodness. Let me mute my mic. Yeah, you know when you have water and it goes down the wrong way? That's totally what happened then. But I think I'm fine now. TY Rose, you're welcome for God. Honestly, thank you for the suggestion. It's a really fun idea, and I'd want to make a note of it because it could be a really funny quest. And it's similar to another quest idea that was mentioned several weeks ago in stream that I've made note of as well, where the cast, the barrel companions, temporarily turn into humans, and they'll be humans for a while. And I think that's interesting because it could be funny and amusing to see them as humans, and also because the fact that it might question their identities and bring up some themes like, do I prefer being a human? And, you know, all these sort of I can never say that word, philosophical questions. My goodness, yeah, so that was an interesting idea for me too as well, because if we look at them, I mean, just look at Woody's face. That face could totally be on a human character in this game. We just make a character in the generator and stick that face on top of it, and it would be funny. We did the same with the others too. The only one that couldn't be a human would be Oliver, because, well, that face wouldn't make sense on a human. I could imagine Oliver being a cat, like a kitten or something, a small animal, if he's going to turn into something that's else. And he should come back with a small chip in his surround. That's a good idea too. You know, like, because it's going to happen, guys. There's no doubt about it. There'll be a time in the game when Oliver's life's in danger, and whether he gets hurt and drops, what his fate is at that point, if it does happen, we don't know. Whether he'll be dead, whether he'd get put back together and glued, and have a chip in his ceramic, you know, that's all to be decided. And speaking of fetch quest, here's an in real life one. Someone please bring me food, I'm starving. I'll give you 5 experience and 1 silver coin as a reward. Yeah, and sometimes those things can be done in a game, but are done in such a way that it's memorable, and it just sticks with me. There's one quest in The Witcher 3, for example, where Geralt goes into a bank, and you spend what I feel like is half an hour in that bank fetching forms, going to and from people and answering questions, and the dialogue is really entertaining, and it, like how it is for us when we're going banks in real life. And I thought that was such a good quest because it was kind of done on purpose, I feel, to like say, yeah, this is a fetch quest, and it was kind of a response to that, and like real life bureaucracy and all that. Why can't I say words that are big? I always can't say. And it's just really, when it's turned into something that makes you think, I like it. But when it's just done for the sake of being a fetch quest, no thank you. No thank you. And maybe this is the point where Woody can make a new impression on people. Say one of the townspeople say that Oliver is of no use because he has a crack, and Woody stands up for Oliver. Yeah, and I think Woody totally would stand up for Oliver. Woody is, I think, a really good person, and he's just that good person. He's just hidden away by made into this butt of jokes kind of character because people just haven't given him a chance to shot for that personality to shine. So yeah, I could totally imagine that happening. But also another thing about if there is a quest where they turn into humans, like Woody would finally get all his dreams would all come true. He'd be the man he always wanted to be. And I wonder if people would treat him differently when he's a man to when he's a box. You know, that would be an interesting quest in particular for Woody's arc. But yeah, I'm still like really fond of Forgotten's idea about their switching personalities just for entertainment value, because like imagine Hank being like Elvira and the other way around. When Oliver gets hurt, I'll begin a crusade until the heathen that was responsible will taste the point of my blade. Well, I'm so happy you like Oliver so much, because that is literally what we want. Okay, I think that is how. It's fine. That is exactly what we want. My goal, in all honesty, is for every person that plays this to be in love with at least one of the barrel companions, and that includes Oliver and Woody, even though they're not barrels, because that'll be what keeps them playing the game. If they at least like one of those characters, because if they don't like one of those characters, they could just get bored of the game, because the whole hook of the main story early on is finding these characters because they've been kidnapped. And if you don't care enough about them, then you're not going to care about finding them. So, you know, that's the hook. We gotta love them to want to find them. So, yes, I always like it when someone expresses their love for one of these characters for that reason. Woody could see the same thing happening to Oliver that has happened to him, then give the opportunity for the hero to also contribute with the choice of supporting Woody's words or berating Oliver or ignoring the situation. Yes, and I love that, like when the hero can come in and be shaped from the dialogue that's happening around him. That's exactly what I'm going to enjoy about this, because that's what we've been doing so far, even this early on. The scene with the fruits, when all this talk's happening, there's moments the hero comes in and gets to say something that shapes his personality as well. So yeah, that sounds good. And the hero trying to make a profit saying, pay me and I'll fix that crack somehow. That's cool too, because you know, the hero, it'll be so cool if he can have so many different variations of how he's shaped. So every player that plays the game will have a different type of hero in a way. From, I mean, we've only got the traits we've got are compassion, wisdom and bravery. Those 3 key traits the hero is shaped from, and you can get plus or minus points on those, so it's kind of like a scale. 0 points would be the midpoint, and if you're going plus, you'll go further to that side of the scale, and if you get minus, the opposite end. So you're going to be a combination of those 3 things. So some people might be a really compassionate, unwise, brave person, or a compassionate, very wise coward, or, you know, like there's at least several personalities from those 3 scales that can be formed at least. And side quest, find the glue to fix Oliver's chip. Yeah, so I'm going to copy and paste ideas, because although of course these aren't set in stone, these ideas, because we don't know what's going to happen otherwise, you know, it's nice to have it all there, because when we do finally work on the scenes, seeing all the ideas that people have had and having it all there in front of me will help come up with all the possible scenarios better. It's definitely better than just having a blank sheet, put it that way. So what I always do, I always just copy and paste anything interesting, and then at the end of stream I organise it into files, appropriate like folders and files. So like I'll have a notepad file for Oliver, I have one for Elvira, and one for the barrels in general, one for the fruits, one for like, and so when comes the time to talk about one of them or flesh one of their arcs out, I'll get all the notes that have been said over all the streams over time about that particular thing or character, and it's very helpful, because if I didn't do that, then when it comes to working on something, I'll just have a complete blank sheet, and nothing is worse for a creative person than a blank sheet. So it's really awesome. I think I like that method of doing things. So thank you, Van, and everybody else, National and Forgotten, for all your cool ideas. Okay, so let's fill in Oliver's personality now. So his emotional disposition is curious. It's nobody's curious in the group yet. Woody's joyful, Hank melancholy, Elvira's calm, Meryl's excited, Carol's angry, and Oliver's curious because he asks questions. That boy, he's the young boy that if something is said, he'll pop up and say, "Oh, what's that?" And the kid's like, "What's mongrel?" When Elvira's like, "Mongrels, boxes, oil drums," and it is quite cute. It's charming, and it also makes his relationship with Hank really nice because Hank is the knowledgeable, wise old granddad guy, and he wants to pass on all his knowledge and all his stories. It makes him feel like, appreciated and listened to. And Oliver, being the curious boy he is, tends to ask questions and Hank answers them. So they've got a close relationship so far. Optimistic, yes, for sure. He would be optimistic. I mean, he's a young kid. You don't usually get that cynical side, pessimistic until you're a little bit older. Some young ones might have it if they've had more bad experiences, maybe, but Oliver certainly hasn't. He's been looked after and quite sheltered so far. Honest, yes. Spontaneous. Let's just have a look. I'm going to have a look at the choice we've got. Controlled or spontaneous? It could go either way, in all honesty. I'm inclined to say spontaneous because he's curious, and I think it would mesh better together. But reckless, boldness, or cautious? Probably cautious rather than reckless, I'd say, because he is made out of clay, and cautious and curious work quite well because you can be you can be the type that asks questions but still be hesitant, you know. I wouldn't say he's like a complete jump into things sort of person. Not at all. Person. Are these person? Is it a little clay cookie jar? But they're still people. Open-minded, yes. Talkative, reserved, and rebellious or traditional. Probably traditional. Talkative and reserved is an interesting one because I see him as potentially being both. But probably more on the talkative side, if any, but it's not like Major. I think he would have reserved quiet times too. But because he's the type to ask questions, yeah, he does talk a lot in the scene where we meet them. But Hank and Elvira do too. Well, Hank in particular does when he tells his stories. But I find that Hank's manner is reserved, even though he can talk a lot when he's got a story. He is overall reserved. I think that could work fine for Oliver. So before we end stream today, let's make sure we fill in this stuff. We'll fill in these sentences for Oliver, and we'll also pick a goal for him. I think that would finish up the stream nicely if we did that. And then we had the fruits to do in the bookingtons, but the fruits can be done next week. For the question week, I really like crush classes. It's a bit brutal to bring up, but backstab multiplied damage with a battle axe. It's fun. Being able to do cool spell effects even as a warrior is nice. I decked my cloud in all the best material. Didn't notice there was a huge strength reduction until the end. Again, good. That's a good one, National. And I like knowing the answers to this because, of course, we have classes in Raindrop Chronicles, and it'll be good inspiration to know why you like a particular class, because then it'll give me skill ideas and sort of build ideas for those classes. So, for sure. And also in case there's a class you guys mentioned that doesn't happen to be on the list as well, so I can add it. Talkative fits him better, I think, because he's curious and wants to learn about stuff, so he asks for a lot of questions. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. I was thinking he might not be loud. Oliver's not the loudest in the room, like he wouldn't shout or scream, but you can still be talkative in a quiet way, a soft-spoken way, and I think Oliver fits that quite well. Carol and Meryl are also talkative characters, as well as Woody, but they're louder, you know, they would yell, especially Carol and Meryl. And Hank and Elvira are the reserved ones, and that doesn't mean they don't talk, they do, but they're just more their way, they're just calmer, and they don't jump around a lot, and you know, Warrior and Ranger, that's a massive difficult choice. I'd play through as both. They both sound great. Yes, Warrior and Hunter are like the two classes you get to choose between for your custom hero. And I mean, I wanted to at least give more than one choice. It was hard to pick a third, so I didn't, because there's already hundreds of assets, custom character assets that I've done. So it would have like added another couple of hundred of assets to do if I added a third class. So yeah, the two, at least you've got a choice between two. And they're both sort of DPS, I guess. Although Warrior could be a sort of tank. So for sure. But yeah, I wouldn't know which one I'd play as either. By the way, Rose, I've sent you the Sunday list on the Discord. Don't know if you've seen it. Oh yeah, forgotten. I remember getting it. Thank you so much for that. That's awesome. Be some inspiration for Carol the Barrel, which is fabulous. Okay, so biggest flaw for Oliver would be that he's made out of ceramic. Could you say clay or ceramic, guys, for Oliver? Could be either. I'm fragile. Physically, because when you say fragile, people could think you mean emotionally. So I'm fragile. I don't know if physically is the right word, but that is what he is. He's fragile. He's made out of clay. But if we give context and just put I'm made out of, yeah, so I'm made of ceramic, so I'm extremely fragile. And that's his real flaw. Like, I couldn't say that this sweet little character has any other flaws. In all honesty, his flaw is the fact of what he's made from makes him vulnerable. Biggest fear. Well, he's a child. He wants to, you know, he doesn't want to be put into situations that are dangerous. He would be scared of danger, I'd say. I'm going to just look at what the fears are. So, all things horrible would be a fear for Oliver, I'd imagine. Things that you wouldn't want your child to say. But, you know, we could go on and on, because Oliver's a vulnerable, precious character that could be put in situations that scare him. Out of all the characters, out of all the barrel companions, he's the one that would probably get scared by most things. Because of, not just because of his age, but also because of what he is, and because of how gentle and sheltered he is. He's made of gold in your eyes. He does, doesn't he? He does look like he is made out of gold. I like it. Yeah. Imagine if someone tricked the baddies and was like, Woody tricked them and was like, he's made of gold, and you don't want to hurt him. You know, like made him act this precious thing, and then they would make sure he was well looked after. Then he belongs in a museum. He will bring you absolutely millions of raindrops if he is looked after and taken back to the museum. And Elvira would be like, hey, I'm the antique barrel from the museum. Biggest fear, no cookies left in his jar. I know, right? And this is what's interesting about Oliver as well, because obviously he was originally a cookie jar. Before he was sentient, somebody owned him and had him as their cookie jar. And what I was thinking of doing, I've not done it yet, but I was thinking of having Oliver on his red ribbon, like name Oliver, because it belonged to somebody called Oliver. And that's why he was called Oliver in the first place, because his previous owner was also called Oliver. Because you know, I've seen them before, like cookie jars and things like that have a ribbon on them, a band, and it's got name : of the person who owns it. And I think that would be nice design for him. If it was subtle, I wouldn't want the name to be like standing out and in your face. It would just like be very, very subtle text, probably red as well, or pink, so it blended in. But it would give a backstory to the why he's called Oliver, and the fact that there was a boy or a previous owner called Oliver that owned him, and it could be an NPC in Lakefall or somebody nearby who's also called Oliver, and then you'd be like, oh, there's another Oliver, a human Oliver here, and it turns out they're actually the owner of the cookie jar. And yeah, so it would be nice if he had like a sort of a backstory that he belonged to someone else originally. And imagine if like he was like, I want my cookie jar back, this Oliver, and Carol's like, no, you can't, he's mine, and they have a fight because they both want Oliver. Carol wants him, and so does the original owner. Conflict is always interesting. Would he be scared of something happening to his protectors? I'm sure he could, because if he was alone, he'd be scared. I think he'd be scared of a lot of things. I'm tempted to just put in I'm scared of a lot of things, because he'd be scared of danger, he'd be scared of violence, he'd be scared of death, he'd be scared of his parents, Carol, companions, etc. all dying and him being alone. He'd be scared of bad people, shouting mean things, fights. And he would be scared. I think he'd fear a lot of things. So he's the scared character, He's sheltered. So anything else you would like to tell us? Now, we could easily put in that bit what I just mentioned about the fact that he was, he used to be a cookie jar and someone else had him, but he would be thinking how to just sum that up. But that's a great idea, Rose, in a hostage situation while trying to buy time while they devise a plan to rescue him. Yeah, and it's interesting because it's just the fact you're conflicted. Like, us as the player would want Carol to keep him because she's brought him up and looked after him since he's been alive. But we might also feel like the original cookie jar owner also deserves to have him because they originally had him. And maybe Oliver, the owner, is a lovely person and he's super sweet and just wants his cookie jar back. So it's like, oh, I kind of feel for them both here. And I kind of like doing that, like making it, like not anybody, it's hard to pick a side kind of thing. Like, although we'd be on Carol's side naturally, sort of making that, I like doing that. But yeah, so Oliver's cookie jar. Yeah, so that was an idea, and it was actually mentioned in chat a while back when Oliver was created. That was actually why we gave him the name in the first place. We did put a bunch of names on a pile, a bunch of boy names, and Oliver was one of them, and that's the one that happened to win. So I think it suits him very well. I think it's because cookies are the shape of an O, and so is his overall body. It's very O-shaped. So the fact that he's got a name that starts with O, because of that, because he's got so many circular elements on him, the cheeks, the eyes, the little round top, the cookies, the body. So the O name, Oliver, just worked for him. And yeah, when we gave him the name, we was like, yeah, it could be his previous owner because you get cookie jars all the time. I'm going to try and see if I can find one on Google. I know the one I used as a reference image had name : on it, one that I saw as a reference, and that's what made me think the idea, and the community kind of liked that too, because it just gives Oliver more of a story. There's a history there, and that's, to me, always helps make a character more interesting. yeah, this was it. So Oliver is based on the honey jar from Winnie the Pooh. That's the design, because Oliver's a complete original character of mine, by the way. I'm so happy that I made someone so cute. And he was inspired by this, the honey jar from Winnie the Pooh, and that is what has name on it. It's got the ribbon with name on, so that's why I thought, yeah, maybe Oliver could be the name. We could put name and Oliver on, but I'd want to design it in such a way that it was subtle, because I wouldn't want it to stand out too much on the design. So it would be very, very subtle, pinky red text that you could just about make out, but it wouldn't catch your eye immediately. You know, you'd have to have a second or third look before you really noticed it. But when it's there, people are like, oh yeah, and then there's a history there. Then someone, I mean, he'd have name : Oliver, so yeah, that's why he's named Oliver. But that also means that the previous cookie jar owner was also called Oliver, and I like it. So I don't know what to put in the anything else you would like to tell us yet, but it's probably going to be linked to that, his history. But I'm not sure how to word it quite yet. But we got to think of a goal, and we've got a bit of time before the end of stream to do that. So, I'm going to look through these goals that we've got, guys. And think of one that's appropriate for Oliver, because it's such a young character. It's, you know, young people don't really have much. I feel like it's harder to think of a goal or motivation because they're not fully shaped yet. They're a child and they're still learning about themselves, and really they just with their family, aren't they? At that age, they're being looked after, and that's it. They don't really have a personality formed enough to know what they want to do with their lives when you're Oliver's age. So it would be, if it's going to be anything, it's going to be something linked to being looked after and being safe, maybe, unless there's something I haven't thought of. To stay alive definitely feels a little bit over the top for Oliver, but it would be something along the lines of being protected. And I don't think there's one on here that fits him. I'm honestly thinking, I don't know about to be kept, to remain safe and protected. I'm not sure about the wording, be safe and, but something like that, you know, feels like that sums up what Oliver's about. He's the one we want to protect, must protect cute precious child. But I'll read chat. So I think that you have to look at these through the eyes of a child. Like finding an ancient mystery could be discovering a big crawdad in the creek, but if it's his goal, it wouldn't be to protect it. Yeah, I suppose that would be Carol's. You're right. It would be how Carol would see it. So if Carol was writing this character sheet, she'd write that as her goal for Oliver. But you know, you got to get in that point of view of the character, haven't you, when thinking of the goals. And it's very easy to like think of a goal like that's, you know, from other characters' perspectives with them when they're so young, when they've not got a mind of their own. But you're right, we kind of have to like think of it from Oliver's point of view. He wants to be a kid and to do kid stuff and have fun. But yeah, for sure, be safe and protected is ultimately what everybody, the whole family, want to do with Oliver. That's their goal for Oliver, Carol and the others. But for Oliver himself, he'd have a different goal. I definitely see that point of view completely. So it's a good point, and I'm glad that you raised it. To do kid stuff, to have fun, so I guess it just fit in with the type of kid Oliver is. He's curious, he asks questions, he's quietly spoken, but he's still very curious, and he'd like gently ask questions now and again. I wouldn't say he's a troublemaker. I'd say he's a sensible boy. But yeah, I don't think any of the goals on the actual list fit for a young person. So it could literally just be something as simple as to have fun. And I'm gonna Google it. Goals for goals for children fiction and characters. Because a lot of the goals that come to my head, they're always like, like they're too adult, they're too much for a mature, developed person. The simple goals, like to have fun, to kid things, it could just literally be, we could always just keep it simple. But at the same time, I kind of want to Google it. I want to Google goals for kids, because hopefully there's something online that talks about that, because it might give some ideas, who knows. To see the world sounds a bit over the top, but maybe something along the lines while remaining safe. Yeah, I know what you mean, because to stay alive was over the top as well, Argo. And that was the first one I thought of for Oliver, because we want to protect him. But yeah, to see the world would definitely fit an adventurous person. I think to a degree, Oliver is like that. For sure, with him being curious, it makes sense. But yeah, maybe it's a bit too. We'll say, I know, and to make a big fort with his friends, or he could want to be an artist. To make a big fort with his friends. Yeah, I guess, who would his friends be? Because the only people Oliver's mixed with are the family that we say, the characters that look after him. We don't know whether he spent time with anyone else, or maybe there has. Maybe he does have some friends that he's with, but we just haven't met them yet. Maybe his goal is to go on an adventure. His idea of adventure could be very Peter Pan like. Yeah, that's good, and I think that's a very good general one as well. I mean, it's always like fun to be a bit more specific and think of more specific things for them, but I think at this stage and on the character sheet, having something quite general like to see the world or to go on an adventure could work well for him. What do you think about to see the world? Because when Argo mentioned it, I was like, it could actually work, and it doesn't sound like it would come from that. It has to come from an adult, something like that. I mean, Oliver would understand what a world is. He's not. That would have. It's pretty clear to a child that he's living in a world, and because he's curious, he would totally want to see that world. Yeah, and that would fit with going on an adventure, seeing the world, going on an adventure. It's all the same sort of thing, isn't it? And thank you for the follow as well, King of Spades. Welcome. And Ready Player Onesie, thank you for the follow as well. Appreciate that, guys. Hi, Barry. 2 quick questions. Is this game open source, and is there a place GitHub, I can download the current characters, locations, items in the world. I have never used GitHub before. I have heard of GitHub before, but I'm very not sure about how it all works or what it's all about. So, what do you mean by open source, by the way? Just so I can answer your question properly. And also, there is a place you can see everything. On our Discord, we have a channel in our Discord where we put in all the images, we're archiving everything, and there'll be more put in there over time as we create things. So really the Discord is the place to see an archive of things. But if anything you mean is regards to the playable build, that is something that's on to be done. It's on our Trello page, a date for it actually. So we've got first playable build July at the moment. So it's looking like the summer. If we stay on track, if things keep on track and everything's tidy, no bugs at all, there might be a first playable build out then. Don't think she's decided that yet. Yeah, I don't understand really what the term open source means. I want to just know more about that so I even get what it means. Okay, so to be smart like Hank and an antique like Elvira. Yeah, he could definitely look at those characters as somewhat people he wants to be. Like with a child, it's just a really interesting one for putting in a goal for sure, because they're still finding out so much about themselves and they could want to do everything, you know. And I think To See the World is a very good general, very good fitting one for a curious character who, you know, we will be going on an adventure, that's for sure, but not a good adventure, a bad adventure. So I kind of like that one. But is there a single zip file with everything in it or separate files? No problem. Yeah, there's no build out yet, no, because it's not in a state quite yet. Everything's very disjointed at the moment. It all needs to be flowing and smooth and a workable thing, and that is what between now and the summer, that is kind of a very key goal for me, to get that first playable build, no matter how simple. There doesn't have to be side quests or, you know, everything fleshed out just yet. I think as long as in the first playable build we can walk around Lakefall and the Everbloom Forest, fight the enemies, level up, well, you know, progress, get experience points, unlock the first and second main quest and do them, and the map works and everything's linked. There's no weird buggy things going on, and we watch the seeds at the first and second main quest that take us to the first boss of the game, complete the first boss, defeat it. If we can get all that bit done, the first bit round the Everbloom Forest, and successfully finish the first and second main quest and the first boss, then I'll say that's a good quality first build, and very worthy of being called a demo, I guess. So that'll be the aim, guys. Build code is freely uploaded, which allows people to mod, change, add to it. It's understandable considering you make a game with the community, but this is more like world building with the community where people suggest. Yeah, like this isn't, like, it's not a sandbox game or anything like that. So that's probably why I'm a bit ignorant about that kind of thing, because it's very much a single player RPG game. And it's not going to be like anything like that where we're modding stuff or anything. Yeah, it's not an open kind of game like that. Thanks for the stream. Gonna go grab some food. Take care, chat chums. Yeah, take care, Binary, for sure. Also, the code is released under a license in which the copyright holder grants users the right to study change. and distribute the software to anyone and for any purpose. Open source software might be developed in a collaborative public manner source from Wikipedia. Thank you, Mush. Yeah, this is a bit over my head, in all honesty, guys, because I'm not the most I'm not all up to scratch about GitHub or anything like that. It's just, I'm just making an RPG game. It's just a simple single player standard game here. So there will be builds that are released, of course, as more gets developed. Before episode 1's release, there'll probably be several different builds as it's improved upon. But yes, that's really all there is to it. Other than that, much better said than me, thank you. Yeah, well, you both helped, so I appreciate it. But yes, it's what we do here. It's a very niche thing, and sometimes some people might not fully get what the project is. But I honestly really like how appreciate anyone that does, and sometimes I want to make sure people understand and then it's all fully explained. But sometimes as well, some people might not get it, which I'm not gonna I'm not gonna exhaust my energy explaining every single stream either. So but your welcome provides us with what we need, so I appreciate you guys as well for doing that job for me. Because yes, well, the easy answer is no, it's not open source. You wouldn't even have the right to make it open source, as all the code is owned by the makers of RPG Maker. Yeah, exactly. Like, it's just over my head. That's knowledge that hasn't even entered my head once, to be honest, because I just follow the way things are with the engine I use and how that is all done, for sure. So thank you guys. So I'm going to put I think we're going to go with See the World. I mean, we've had a bit of discussion about what some of his goals would be. And Oliver's one that could just simply just want to be a kid. But this feels like a very broad, general goal that, you know, there could be many mini goals within this one, so it works well, I think, to have that. It's not too specific, so I'm going to get that saved. So all I need to do for Oliver's is fill in anything else you would like to tell us. And I'm thinking of something related to, well, Oliver needs to be aware of what he writes in there. So I can't really put about his previous cookie jar owner because he wouldn't know them, because he wasn't even sentient then at that point. So, you know, he wouldn't be aware of that knowledge, so that wouldn't be what I put in there actually. But it's still something to consider. I think that history of Oliver will be really cool, a nice interesting thing. And we've got some notes about it, I think. I hope we have anyway. I hope I copied and pasted them. I have now. Is that sure the last part is true? People who create things like Unity do allow people to create open source programs. Yeah, maybe Unity they do. I mean, I think from what I've seen, Unity might do that for sure. But RPG Maker's kind of different, isn't it, to Unity? But I don't know. Like, don't listen to me. I could be wrong, because like I say, I'm not very knowledgeable about this kind of subjects. Yeah, it's not something I've considered when I'm not for this game anyway. So, understand at least, yeah, for sure. Because a lot of it is taken from other people. This game is going to have a pretty big credit section, that's for sure, because there's a lot of plugins made by awesome peoples and stuff that have made this possible, and art assets and sound effects and everything. Have Oliver and Rose interacted? National says nope. Well, not that we're aware. Like, all we know is that, well, the hero hasn't met these barrel companions yet. He only knows what Carol has told him from the flashback, and we see that flashback happen in a scene, and we like watch it from Carol's point of view. So the hero and Rose are made aware of these characters. Rose is actually involved. She kind of got involved with the hijacking. She attacks the hijacker, and that's how she's a witness to Carol. So because of that, Carol knows that Rose knows something, and she needs Rose to tell her that information, where they are. But because she's mute, it adds a complication, because Rose can't explain through speech what she witnessed and where the characters have been taken. So yes, but we don't know whether she's met Oliver or whether she spent time with the barrels, because it's all a mystery at this point. All we know is that Rose was on the cart with the hijackers and the barrel companions, and where they got taken to, and where they are now, and what they've done with them, and whether Rose spent time with them and spoke to them personally and, you know, got to know these characters, or whether she did at all or never saw them once, is all to be decided. And I like to keep these things open because people might have ideas. I don't like to set things like that in stone too much until we have to. So for that reason, National, yeah, we don't know at this point whether Oliver and Rose have ever spoken before. They might have spent time together after the hijacking, or Rose might have gone on her own separate ways. We don't know. And might also want to take a peek at Lumberyard. No royalties at the moment. Maybe you could have just unsure of why the name Oliver is on his body, and have the people playing the game found out later that the previous owner was named Oliver. Yes, and I think that's exactly the way to approach it, Argo, because we can have name Oliver and the game's not going to spell out that that's the case, and Oliver wouldn't be aware of that. Oliver, he just thinks he's Oliver. That's why he's got Oliver on his thing. He doesn't realise that it was actually his previous owner called Oliver. This is all stuff that's going to be revealed to us as the player over time. Like, we will just come across a random Oliver in a village and we'll be like, oh yeah, and we might not click to us straight away that it's actually the Oliver that owned the cookie jar. You know, I mean, these are things that aren't going to be spelt out for sure. And a lot of things in this game, like what's on the character sheets, and isn't going to be revealed either. So, like, I'm not a fan of exposition that's thrown at the player. I like to subtly reveal things from showing rather than telling. It's just far more effective, so I agree. Aggro. Hi, Ready Player Onesie. I'm new. What's the level of completion? Oh, we're very, very early days. You know how we're on stream 139 at the moment? Well, it's going to be in the thousands by the time we're even anywhere close to complete. So that's just an idea. It's a very epic fantasy long-term thing that we're doing here. So even though stream 100 and something might seem a lot, it's nothing in comparison to the actual scope of the project and what it's going to be. We're very, very early on in episode 1 development, still Ready Player Onesie. So it's a good time to be here now while things are still very young, and that's for sure. Welcome. 0.1%. Yeah, we're going to be meeting these characters after they develop from their experiences. An exaggeration, but not by much. We have a pretty forest and some characters. Yeah, that's for sure. And this game's episodic, so We don't know yet how many episodes are going to be, because it all depends. We do it as we go along. But episode 1, 2020, 2021, all depends. It's going to be, I'd say, we're looking at around a year, you know, like within the year would be a sort of realistic goal for me, I'd say, because I want at least a few hours of content there for you guys to play. Thinking no less than 4 main quests and half a dozen side quests, you know, that would be decent in a few hours at least of content, maybe more for people who are more thorough. So, you know, we'll see how it goes, but yes, because if it's episodic, it makes it just far more realistic to get something out for you faster to play. Because if this game was a full game, if it wasn't episodic, folks, you would be waiting a long time. I'm not going to give you how many years, because even I don't know the answer to that yet, but this is, I try to be very clear that this is a years long project, years. And that's, you know, that's fun for me. I've always wanted to create a fantasy epic with a large world. So it's just fascinating to me and very exciting. But we're still very early days, very, very early days. We've only created 1 zone so far in the whole world of this game. So, yeah. We've consistently been doing this for about half a year now on stream. The first 6 months of the project before that were very spread out. I was only streaming once a month, once every 2 months at one point. But so consistently it's been about half a year, yeah. And so maybe it'll be another half a year before we see episode 1 really coming to life and being something potentially releasable. But I'd say between 6 months to a year. It's hard to like put on an actual date for episode 1 yet, because we still, you know, things need to be put together. I'd like to see some content and first build be playable first before I start giving dates and anything like that. But welcome, it's good to have you. And how many of you got? Rex has got a ridiculous amount, haven't you, Rex? He's number 1, I think. just above Tetsuro's. The 2 screen avatars are fun. Yeah, that's me and Rex. If you're a character in the game, guys, you get to walk on the screen. So whenever someone's chatting in stream, you pop up if you're a character in the game. And me and Rex are, so that's for sure. Okay, so right, guys, so I think we've done that. I'm very glad that we finished. Well, we did Oliver, Hank and Woody, and got to spend time talking about those characters today. That was the goal, to get Hank, Woody and Oliver done. And I just got to proofread them and all that, make sure everything's fine. And then once I'm happy with them, I'm going to put them up on the Discord and on Twitter. I kind of want to get all their directions in now, like I've got for Carol, because the others don't have theirs yet. But yeah, so that'll be awesome. And next week, I think we'll go back to the fruits next week. We'll have finished with the barrels for a little bit. At some point, I'm going to get that cutscene, the flashback scene of the barrels, put in the Discord, because the rest of this month, behind the scenes, off stream, I'm working on polishing that particular cutscene and the one with the fruits before the boss. But on stream for the rest of this month, I'll probably be doing battle system and first boss related stuff, so we can really get that first boss with the fruits perfect, because that is such an important thing to get done. I'm catching up to you, Kappa. Haven't seen the fruits yet. Next week is going to be fun. Yeah, we got the fruits, and they are also really cool characters. They're not as major as these guys though. They'll be classed as minor NPCs, the fruits, well, not major ones, because they're only really key to one scene, and they're the first boss as well. But after that, they'll be gone from the plot. Perhaps for a little while they might return, depending on how you handle the battle, I have to say. But they're minor NPCs. These are major NPCs, but they're still amazing characters, because I still like the minor NPCs to be awesome as well. So I'm really excited to go back to them next week, guys. And once the barrel companion flashback scene is done, once I have finished it and put it in the Discord, I'll let you guys know on the stream and in the Discord that it's up, so you guys will be able to watch it and give any like little bits of feedback. I'll leave it open for a few days, and then I'll do the same. I'll do the same for every single scene that we make in the game, because you never know, there could be any, a better sound effect idea you guys might have, a slightly more entertaining dialogue line, anything like that is always valuable for cutscene feedback. We can't like completely redo the whole scene, because once it's been done, it's done. Cutscenes are very time consuming to do, so if someone like gave feedback saying, oh, I think you should scrap the whole cart hijacking it, the answer would be no, because that took a lot of time to do, and it's already confirmed and was decided by the community to go that direction. But minor feedback and anything small, then that will be very valuable, because we want to make sure the scenes are amazing and perfect and as good as they can be. So you might just catch up in no time. Comment early in regards to Limbiard was based on a comment in Unity that was made earlier. It's a game engine based on the Cry engine. Have you decided on an engine or code that will be used to produce your game? Yeah, RPG Maker, guys, is the one. So I've got the program here, so feel free to look. Is there always another rank when it comes to raindrops? Yes, I'm not even the top rank aggro. I'm not even the top one. My goodness. So if you want to look at mine, let me just put it raindrops. I've still got to be the top rank, and I'm the streamer. My goodness. Okay, guys, so it is 6:30. I've gone way over time today. It's crazy. I think my dinner's ready this second, so I'm gonna have to head off, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out. I had a really fun stream, and I will see you all on Monday's stream. So have a good weekend, everybody. Take care, and I'm excited for more stuff next week. Bye bye, everyone.